half a century. 5 days of deadly protests in Iran against the Islamist regime, which has had the country in its grip for nearly half a century, give the latest bout of hope the mullahs could finally fall. Khomeini's regime has led a brutal crackdown, killing 7 of the protesters who spilled out onto the streets, furious at the soaring cost of living. Yet, just as events highlight the repressive nature of the regime, the unholy alliance of the left and the Islamists rears its ugly head again. The regime, which has financed Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthi rebels, sowing chaos across the Middle East, has allowed millions of child marriages and seen Iranian women covered up and demoted to second-class citizens, is finding quiet yet strong support from the British left. Iranian economist Mani Basharsad, who came to the UK just a year ago, says it's been infuriating to listen to the privileged Brits who whisper to him their support for the murderous regime. He joins me now. You're here in Britain while your country seems to be up in flames. What's going on?
It's an interesting story. The protest in Iran has started from the most conservative part of the Persian society, which is the bazaar, which is the market. The businesses are protesting now. But one thing is fundamentally different this time. It's not about what they do not want, which is the Islamic tyranny, or what Sir Roger Scruton, one of my favorite philosophers of all time, called the tyranny of evil mullahs. But they're saying what they want, which is bringing back the monarchy. More than 10 cities now have joined the protests, and the Islamic Republic, as always, as it is its habit, started killing the protesters because of one simple reason. You should understand the mindset of the Islamic Republic. They think, what do they call the leader in Iran? Wali Faqih. What does Wali Faqih mean? It's not prime minister, it's not king, it's the representative of Allah on earth, which means that if you attack this government, if you're against this government, you're not just the opposition. You are against Islam. You are against God. And we know well what does the text say about those who are infidels, those who are against the regime. You have the permission to kill them with any amount of violence that you want. But one thing this time is different. You have Donald Trump in United States and Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. Both of them know the nature of Islamic Republic. Joe Biden didn't know that. I don't think Keir Starmer knows that. Barack Obama for sure didn't know what does the Islamic Republic stands for. It's an ideology which is based to destroy the West. From the first days of the Islamic Revolution, what did the revolutionaries do? They occupied the US Embassy. Till now, in my country, we don't have US Embassy. We have British Embassy, we don't have US Embassy. And do you know what did they name the street which the British Embassy is based on? Bobby Sands Street, a member of IRA, is the name of the street which the British Embassy is based in. So you have a regime which fundamentally hates the West, fundamentally hates the freedoms that exist in a normal society. On the other side, we have people who are tired of that. This is what is fundamentally different about Iran. This is what Ayaan Hirsi Ali wrote 3 years ago in Unheard. She said, I think Iran is unique. Why did she say that? Because when women burn their hijabs in Iran, their brothers joined them. Their fathers joined them in the protest. And the new generation, the best estimates that we got is more than 50% of the new generation in Iran, the Gen Z, doesn't believe in Islam, doesn't believe in that ideology. Why is that?
Could you give us a little bit more about history about the Iranian culture? Because the general populace in Iran isn't as pious as other parts of the Middle East, are they?
No, they're not. If you go to the streets of Tehran, most of the people are not wearing a hijab. But there's a punishment for not wearing a hijab. Why is that happening? You should go back to Persian culture. Before 1979, you have seen the pictures, I'm sure, in Twitter, on X. It's like a Western country. Because that was the nature of the Iranian culture. You have a culture which from thousands of years ago likes wine, likes happiness. Omar Khayyam, which Mr. Fitzgerald was the best translator of Omar Khayyam, has a poem which says, drink wine, that's life's eternity. Drink wine, that's what life gives to you. This is the Persian culture. It likes happiness, it likes music, it likes dancing. And suddenly, a revolution happens with what the Shah of Iran called the unholy alliance of the leftists and the Islamists. They allied together and they did the revolution. But you may have one question. How did the atheist, communist, leftist were in a group, were in unity with the Islamists?
That's exactly what I
One
was
simple
gonna ask
question,
you.
one simple answer. Their hatred of the West was more than their hatred of each other. When the revolution happened in Iran, we all know the law was mandatory hijab. The law of mandatory hijab was introduced. Who supported the law of mandatory hijab? You wouldn't believe this.
I mean, there it is. It predates everything else. Perfectly makes sense. Hold on. He's got a lot of stuff here.
Late last night, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela.
In the early morning hours of January 3rd, 2026, President Donald Trump successfully ran a CIA covert operation to capture Nicolas Maduro, the illegitimate dictator of Venezuela. The whole world is talking about this operation and people are shocked, but I want to give you 3 important insights about this operation that most people don't understand about CIA and Donald Trump's vision for the future of Venezuela. The first thing to understand is that without a doubt, this operation is going to be contested as potentially illegal. What we saw here was something called an extraordinary rendition, something we haven't seen since the global war on terror, when U.S. military forces were recruited by CIA in order to go out and capture terrorists and bring them back to the United States for trial. That's exactly what you saw happen with Nicolas Maduro. You saw the CIA use military forces to go into a sovereign country to capture not just any terrorist, but their actual sitting president. Even though Nicolas Maduro was not seen as the legal president of Venezuela by the United States or many other countries in the world, he was the de facto leader in that country because of the fact that he had been a sitting president for so long, and he was hand-selected for the role by the previous dictator Hugo Chavez. In the eyes of the Venezuelan people, they only had one leader. Even if they didn't like him, even if they disagreed with them, even if they didn't vote for him, the entire country was built off of an administration, a series of federal and government systems that were dependent on Maduro. So in Maduro's absence, we can expect to see
Yeah, a fascist communist regime.
chaos across Venezuela. We can expect to see institutions fail. We can expect to see conflict in the streets. Police are going to be without leadership. The continuation of government is going to be confused and disoriented. And that's assuming the United States does not carry out any more additional strikes inside the country. All of that chaos, all of that confusion, any potential deaths, any continued conflict is all going to be tied back to this idea of an extraordinary rendition by the United States against Nicolas Maduro, the sitting president of Venezuela. Without a doubt, the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, the Cubans are all going to condemn the action. It's uncertain how many parts of Europe and parts of Asia are also going to respond to this because it's diplomatically sensitive. Nobody's going to want to applaud the United States for illegally going into a sovereign country and taking the sitting leader. Think about what that would mean for all the other sitting leaders around the world. But at the same time, many American allies will want to celebrate the fact that Nicolas Maduro has been taken out of his seat. Even here in the United States, you can expect that there will be legal scholars and sitting congresspeople who are going to have different points of view on whether this action was justified, legal, or not. The second point to understand here is that CIA did not carry out this operation alone. This operation is what's known as a joint counterterrorism operation, and that's important because prior to the Trump administration labeling Nicolas Maduro and the Venezuelan government as a narco-terrorist and narco-terrorist state, they didn't have the ability to use counterterrorism laws in order to carry out operational actions inside Venezuela. So the Department of Justice and Department of State decision to formally assign Foreign Terrorist Organization, FTO status, to the Cartel de los Soles, which is the cartel associated with the government of Venezuela, is an important decision because it opened up all the laws and all the authorities of counterterrorism to operations inside Venezuela. One of the reasons that's important is because by labeling Maduro a terrorist and labeling the government a terrorist supporting organization, it meant that we could use joint resources across the United States in order to carry out counterterrorism operations. That's why you see formal statements from the US government saying that this was a joint operation that included law enforcement, military, and intelligence assets. Without labeling Maduro and the government of Venezuela as a narco-terrorist organization, the Trump administration wouldn't have been able to carry out operations against the sovereign state of Venezuela itself. Another important thing to understand when it comes to these joint operations is something called authorities or titles. The U.S. military and CIA are governed by two different sets of titles. Title 10 for the U.S. military, Title 50 for the CIA. Title 10 grants the U.S. military the operational authority to carry out military operations of an overt nature against foreign threats. Title 50 grants the CIA the ability to carry out covert operations against foreign targets. That means the military has to operate under Title 10, overt military operations, and if the military is going to carry out anything that is covert, it has to operate under Title 50, which is controlled by the CIA. This is why CIA, in order to carry out their covert operations, pulls from the U.S. military elite services like Delta Force and Navy SEALs in order to carry out their most sensitive and most tactical military strikes. Very similar to the bin Laden compound raid in May of 2011, the raid on Maduro's compound in January of 2026 also included months of preparation and planning in advance of the actual strike. This suggests that military...
In other words, it's exactly the same kind of operation that was undertaken by President Barack Obama when he took out Osama bin Laden, a terrorist that everybody supported getting. And here's the interesting part. He was responsible for 9/11, right? A couple thousand deaths, something like that. And Maduro is responsible for funding the fentanyl drug cartels that killed, which, by the way, just fentanyl alone resulted in the deaths of 300,000 Americans over the last 4 years. So, and we hadn't taken him out before this. Why? Hello? What the hell?
Tier 1 operators were seconded by CIA under
is based
the correct title authorities in order to plan, prepare, and execute this operation. So when you start to hear people saying that this was a CIA operation or a military operation or a special operations operation, the truth is that it's all of those things together. Without a doubt, the DEA was involved. Without a doubt, the FBI was involved. Without a doubt, the state of New York was involved, because all of these organizations had to come together and work together because the U.S. government has to create a case for why they were able to render from a foreign country a valid target who was indicted under a legitimate American law. All of these things may sound detailed and bureaucratic, but they're very important to understand because inside the United States, we continue to exercise freedom and democracy, which means we have to follow the rule of law. And there are laws that dictate exactly how we can carry out all sorts of covert operations with the correct authorities and the correct judicial oversight in order to bring a criminal like Nicolas Maduro to justice. The third and final point I want to talk about is what comes next for Venezuela. And that is the question that's on the tip of everybody's tongue, even though only half the people you talk to are actually asking that question. If you haven't discovered your natural-born spy skills, then somebody else may be using theirs against motive, and its natural purpose is there. Maduro goes all the way back to the Chavez administration when Maduro was in charge of making sure that Chavez was getting his paycheck from the cocaine that was being produced in Colombia and for more than a decade. Maduro goes all the way to Venezuela. Maduro had been understand that Maduro would use it before someone else uses theirs against you. First, it's important to understand that Maduro was not the only corrupt leader in the country of Venezuela. Maduro had been connected to the Cartel de los Soles for more than a decade. Maduro goes all the way back to the Chavez administration when Maduro was in charge of making sure that Chavez was getting his paycheck from the cocaine that was being produced in Colombia and transiting through Venezuela. So you can see that Maduro has been at the game for a long time. And as he started to climb through the political hierarchy, he would backfill the positions beneath him with trusted loyalists who were also part of the Cartel de los Soles. That means that the current sitting vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is also part of the Cartel de los Soles. And the defense minister of Venezuela, Pedrino Lopez, is also part of the Cartel de los Soles. In fact, both people have been named in formal indictments by the Department of Justice against Maduro. And the list goes on from there to senior lieutenants that are in all the different branches of the military, including the Air Force and the Navy, because those are the organizations that are relied upon in order to take the smuggled cocaine out of Venezuela and across the ocean into the United States. So the entire chain of command of Venezuela is in question. The top two people who would most likely be the continuation of government are also part of the cartel, which means they are also part of the target list for the United States. They know that, and they must recognize now that the capability of the United States to come in and carry out a covert lethal strike against any one of them is imminent. Many of the top leaders of the country could actually flee or be granted some sort of asylum by any of America's enemies, including Iran, China, Russia, or Cuba. In
other words, you better roach out. They're going to roach out because they're cowards and they ain't got nothing. They have no chance, no shot, bro. They're going to be roach kings. You watch.
Vacuum of leadership, the question is, who will step up? Who will step up considering the fact that the entire system of government in Venezuela has been built on the back of Chavez and Maduro, has been built on the back of supporting the Cartel de los Soles? The Donald Trump administration knows that without a doubt, this government is a house of cards waiting to collapse. And the Trump administration also recognizes that the best way to get the people of Venezuela to accept any kind of interim government is going to be to allow the current government to fail. So the Trump administration is very likely going to sit and watch as the economy and political foundation of Venezuela collapses. Very similar to what happened when the United States went in and took Manuel Noriega from Panama in 1989. Following that economic and political collapse of Venezuela, you'll very quickly see the United States step in to support an opposition government that's a transition government in Venezuela built completely separate from the cartel. Once that opposition government is in place, you'll see the U.S. release aid packages to Venezuela. You'll see the U.S. release sanctions against Venezuelan oil. You'll actually see the U.S. start to offer investment into the infrastructure of.
The thing to understand about this guy, Andrew Bustamante, is that he is straight up a legitimate retired CIA operative. He's a badass, and he knows the systems. He knows how they work. And what's interesting and very intriguing about all this and everything he's saying is he's pretty just straightforward about the facts. He's not really giving a side here. He's just stating it how it is. He's giving you the take of observable reality.
Venezuela for two important reasons. First, Venezuela sits on the largest reserve of oil in the world. Let me say that again. Venezuela controls the single largest deposit of crude oil in the world. It's approximately 15% larger than the reserve held by Saudi Arabia, and it's just off the coast of Florida. So that means the largest reserve of crude oil in the world is just across the Gulf from the United States, and the predominant type of crude oil is known as heavy crude.
It's ours now, baby.
Which is the exact type of crude oil that Texas oil refineries were built
Mine. Gimme.
to refine. So the Venezuelan economy stands to gain from cooperating with the United States, and the United States economy stands to gain from cooperating with Venezuela. Donald Trump recognizes, more so than any previous president, the economic benefit that stands for the United States by seeing a political change in Venezuela, because that Venezuelan oil could almost overnight start being refined by Texas refineries, which would massively decrease the price of oil and the price of energy across the United States, while simultaneously making us less dependent on Middle East oil. That means we can leave all the corruption, all the violence, all the scandal of the Middle East behind, and we can focus on sourcing our primary oil from Venezuela.
There it is.
The parallels between the
It's three birds with one stone. You take communism down a peg. W for democracy, capitalism, communism, big L, big giant L. You take out a despicable dictator of that communist regime who happens to be the leader of a cartel, a drug cartel that's killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, including fentanyl and cocaine. And the third benefit is economic. I mean, it's three birds with one stone.
1989 capture of Manuel
Absolutely.
Noriega
Big
from
W.
Panama and the 2026 capture of Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela are powerful, which means that we can also predict that the transformation of Venezuela will be very similar to the transformation of Panama in the early 1990s. In the ensuing months and years immediately following the fall of Noriega, Panama suffered economically and politically. Their systems failed, their currency failed, many parts of their government failed. As I've already said, I expect the same thing to happen in Venezuela, especially in the first few months and even the first year after the loss of Maduro. However, in the first 3 years following the end of Manuel Noriega, Panama was completely transformed. An opposition government was put in place that was pro-American, sanctions were lifted, and U.S. aid packages started to flow in, creating a very strong and healthy Panamanian economy. That means that in the next 1 to 3 years, we can expect something very similar to happen in Venezuela. An opposition government will be put in place that is pro-American. That opposition government will come with the release of sanctions from the United States, as well as foreign investment and aid packages from the United States in order to rebuild the infrastructure, the political foundation, and the economy of Venezuela, particularly since a strong Venezuelan economy is going to benefit the United States economy, and Donald Trump is trying to transform the U.S. economy in his second term. Over the next few days and weeks, you and I will continue to see these three questions played out over and over again in media. Was the rendition of Nicolas Maduro legal or illegal? Who takes credit for that clandestine operation? And what will the United States do to support or suppress the economy and political foundation of Venezuela? I will continue paying attention to this because my family is Venezuelan. My wife was born in Venezuela. My father-in-law is a Venezuelan citizen. Many of our closest family members are all American citizens who were once Venezuelan immigrants. I am confident that the United States has better days ahead because of the capture of Nicolas Maduro. I am confident that the Venezuelan people have better days ahead because of the rendition of Nicolas Maduro. And whether or not we find that that rendition was legal or illegal, whether CIA or the Department of War takes credit for the rendition, whether or not the United States helps Venezuela or allows Venezuela to crumble, it's all irrelevant.
Yo. That's perfect. I love that shit. Hell yeah.
The current debate between two significant public figures who both also happen to be former Navy SEALs, Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw and podcast host Sean Ryan, goes much deeper than just what the headlines are focusing on. Now, if you're not familiar with what's been going on since early December 2025, Congressman Dan Crenshaw's attorneys sent a cease and desist letter to podcast host Sean Ryan, telling him that he needed to stop referencing Crenshaw in some of his online interviews, specifically related to possible questions related to funds and monies that Dan Crenshaw was earning. Sean Ryan then responded in a very public way using his media platform, highlighting that he not only didn't do anything wrong, but then also shared previously private media clips of Crenshaw saying very inappropriate things in public, referencing violent actions against other media professionals, namely Tucker Carlson. With Sean Ryan's public disclosure of the previously private legal documentation that was sent by Dan Crenshaw, many voices in conservative media have really picked up the story to move forward with it. And the predominant question here is whether or not Dan Crenshaw is overstepping as a political figure, trying to silence an independent media voice. At least that's what people are focused on. But I'm seeing something very different between these two men, and that's what I want to share with you today. Whether or not Sean Ryan was right or wrong, whether or not Dan Crenshaw is justified or not, is kind of irrelevant to me because
we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's back this guy up. And then let's go to here. Let's see what good old Joe has had to say. Man, Pierce has not been active at all. Man, over the holidays, there has just been a serious lack of content. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, let's check out Decoy.
President Trump just struck Venezuelan soil and abducted their dripped out dictator with surgical precision.
Bro,
And as
true.
actual Venezuelans are celebrating, for some reason, American liberals are outraged, immediately protesting in New York City. As Trump derangement syndrome runs so deep, leftists, yet again, are forced to cheer for everything they're allegedly against. As last night, Trump deployed Operation Absolute Resolve, with attack helicopters filling Venezuelan skies, striking several military sites. With heavy shelling all throughout the night, creating chaos on the ground floor. With massive amounts of destruction,
Gone. Obliterated. Goodbye,
as
bitch.
blackouts hit major cities. President Trump proudly announced he had taken their dictator, Maduro, stating he has now been captured and flown out of the country, posting this
Sweet.
"Find Out" meme, as Operation
Damn.
Absolute Resolve was an absolute success.
That's our president. Holy shit.
To be able to drop in and
Hey,
take out
Sid,
the
what's
leader
up?
alive and remove him from the
Wait, what's he say?
to drop in and take out a leader alive.
Hold on. There.
To be able to drop in and take out a leader alive and remove him from the scene is just precision that's hard to comprehend at this point. How is the U.S. able to go in there and reports now say, without any U.S. casualties, remove him from the scene?
And honestly,
Bro.
I'm still no fan of
Yo.
foreign intervention, but I also don't believe this is the beginning of a new 22-year-long war. But of course, the
Yeah, nobody wants the forever wars. Nobody wants all the, trudged in, entrenched positions, crap tons of troops just going in and out all the time. We don't want that. Everybody has made sure. I mean, it's pretty, like, it's not like I would be necessarily myself against it in this particular case, but the majority of, from what I know, even on the right, they're all pretty much, they're done with that shit. So, but this is not that. This is, I mean, look, the operation they used that Barack had his CIA and Navy SEALs undertake to get Osama bin Laden, that operation had the same legal implications as this one. Exactly the same. Okay? Precisely the same. All the same legal implications. Oh, could you technically legally do that or not? Well, nobody cared back then because they wanted Osama bin Laden. They wanted that motherfucker caught. He was responsible for 9/11, which killed I don't know, like 1,500 people, 2,000 people. Maduro is responsible for the cartel that has trafficked both fentanyl and cocaine, responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. Hello. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Because I just said 100, hundreds, not 100, hundreds. The highest estimate I've seen is 300,000 American lives lost to fentanyl, to cocaine, to these drug cartels, through which, by the way, of which Maduro is the leader. So is his VP. So is the general underneath him. It's insane that anybody would be against this.
Democrats are going to frame it this way, as dishonesty is pretty much their official
We went in. It's like the same old meme of the Walmart old man who's like, "Welcome to Walmart. Get your shit and get out." Well, that's what we did. Thank you. Come again. Have a nice day. That's
Policy.
it. We're
As
done.
Democrat puppets on TV rush to push this.
When you think about what the United States just did,
Oh my
I think
God.
there are very few Americans right now who have any idea why the United States did this.
Oh my. No, you don't. And if any of your viewers don't, it's because you didn't tell them, because you don't want them to know. You lying sack of shit. Oh man, I can't wait till she gets fired.
Democrat Congresswoman were angry.
I'm angry on behalf of Americans, on behalf of Congress.
Why?
And
Why are you're angry that we got rid of a guy that's responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths, American civilian deaths? Shouldn't that that should reflect very badly on you.
importantly, on behalf of our service members who were put in harm's way.
But at least,
Bro, I love the music in the background. Decoy is so funny.
Democrat
I love
senator did speak up on behalf of our military, but it didn't stop the rest of the party from using this as an opportunity to ask for more money. It's sad because the Democrats openly admit
Holy
they
crap.
knew next to nothing about the hows or the whys on this attack. But since it's President Trump, Democrats have to default.
And it's only because of this. It's only because it's Trump. If it was anybody else, man, I'm telling you, because they supported it when it was President Bush, Reagan, Clinton, Barack Obama. And I mean, what the hell are we talking about? Like, oh my God. I get so fucking mad, dude. So angry at this insanity.
To being
It's
against
so
it, as social
freaking-
media users immediately feign anger, sharing their expertise in international law.
To take their president and then saying you're going to charge
Their president? You mean their communist dictator that puts their people, his own people, through literal torture and hell if they don't go along with the drug cartels that are in charge? Are you freaking kidding me? They seize property from their own citizens so that they can grow all the the plants, whatever is used to make cocaine and fentanyl. Seized farmers' property. Like farmers. We're not talking about wealthy people. We're talking about just like farmers. Like, come on.
their president with criminal charges in our country is such an insane breach of sovereignty. I'm like,
No, it's not. By the very nature that president had criminal charges in our country, and that the what's it called? Where's it at?
Late last night, at my direction, the United States
CIA in order to go out and capture
Right here.
May of 2011, the raid on Maduro military force and Navy SEALs in
Right here. This is important. Listen to this guy, okay? Retired CIA operative, now in the private sector and starting his own business for private security, and does a YouTube channel regarding all the different things and insights that he has and can share on his YouTube channel. Okay?
in order to carry out their most sensitive
With obviously CIA permission. There's some stuff he will tell you when he can't tell you something all the time, and it happens a lot.
and most tactical military strikes. Very similar to the bin Laden compound raid in May of 2011, the raid
Very similar, this raid to the this raid on Maduro that we got him is similar to the bin Laden compound raid in May 2011.
on Maduro's compound in January of 2026 also included months of preparation and planning in advance of the actual strike. This suggests that military Tier 1 operators were seconded by CIA under the correct title authorities in order to plan, prepare, and execute this operation. So when you start to hear people saying that this was a CIA operation or a military operation or a special operations operation, the truth is that it's all of those things together. Without a doubt, the DEA was involved. Without a doubt, the FBI was involved. Without a doubt, the state of New York was involved, because all of these
that's where he's indicted, by the way, the state of New York, and yet that's where they're protesting.
These organizations had to come together and work together because the U.S. government has to create a case for why they were able to render from a foreign country a valid target who was indicted under a legitimate American law. All of these things may sound detailed and bureaucratic, but they're very important to understand because inside the United States, we continue to exercise freedom and democracy, which means we have to follow the rule of law. And there are laws that dictate exactly how we can carry out all sorts of covert operations with the correct authorities and the correct judicial oversight in order to bring a criminal like Nicolas Maduro to justice. The third and final point I want to talk about is what comes next for Venezuela. And that is the question that's on the tip of everybody's tongue, even though only half the people you talk to are actually
Elrich66 says we got the bastard. Yeah, true.
Asking that question. If you haven't discovered your natural born spy skills, then somebody else may be.
Sorry, Andrew Bustamante. We gotta blaze through that. Sorry, Bubba. Appreciate you.
Spy skill
all the
and
love.
Use it
all
before
love,
someone else uses theirs against you. First, it's important to understand that Maduro was not the only corrupt leader in the country of Venezuela. Maduro
not the only corrupt leader. Listen to this crazy ass shit.
Had been connected to the Cartel de los Soles for more than a...
There it is. This is the cartel name. This is what I was looking for. De las Soles. Okay? It's the cartel that Maduro is in charge of and de facto leader of. His VP is also
decade. Maduro goes all the way back to the Chavez administration when Maduro was in charge of making sure that Chavez was getting his paycheck from the cocaine that was being produced in Colombia and transiting through Venezuela. So you can see that Maduro has been at the game for
the days when only cocaine was what we had to worry about. Then came along fentanyl. Holy shit, dude.
For a long time. And as he started to climb through the political hierarchy, he would backfill the positions beneath him with trusted loyalists who were also part of the Cartel de los Soles. That means that the current sitting vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is also part of the Cartel de los Soles. And the defense minister of Venezuela, Pedrino Lopez, is also part of the Cartel de los Soles.
They all are in on this shit, dude. This is crazy.
In fact, both people have been named in formal indictments by the Department of Justice against Maduro. And the list goes on from there to senior lieutenants that are in all the different branches of the military, including the Air Force and the Navy, because those are the organizations that are relied upon in order to take the smuggled cocaine out of Venezuela and across the ocean into the United States. So the entire chain of command of Venezuela is in question. The top two people who would most likely be the continuation of government are also part of the cartel, which means they are also part of the target list for the United States. They know that, and they must recognize now.
Exactly. Elrich66, of course. How else could they operate on such a massive scale? Exactly. It's a no-brainer. Yeah. That's exactly right.
The capability of the United States to come in and carry out a covert lethal strike against any one of them is imminent. Many of the top leaders of the country could actually flee or be granted some sort of asylum by any of America's enemies, including Iran, China, Russia, or Cuba. In that vacuum of leadership, the question is, who will step up?
Well, they're gonna roach out, bro. They're gonna roach out right now. We got their top dog, and they know they're next. Their number is written in stone. It's already been decided. Their fate is sealed. If they don't get their asses out of Dodge right now, they know they're cooked. So they're going to roach out. They're going to be roach kings tonight, yesterday, last night.
Will step up, considering
their asses are gone.
The fact that the entire...
If we haven't already... isolated them, have their location, and have a plan to get them to, they're already gone.
System of government,
which I wouldn't be surprised if we already had a way to ensure that we could capture them as well.
In Venezuela has been built on the back of Chavez and Maduro, has been built on the back of supporting the Cartel de los Soles. The Donald Trump administration knows
it has been built on the back of supporting the Cartel de los Soles. Just take that in, because we all knew that was the case. How else, as Elrich says, right? How else could they operate on such a massive scale? I mean, we're talking about the amount of drugs, right, that they were smuggling into America is like 60. I thought at one point I heard 82, then I heard 70, and then the lowest estimate that I've heard is 67% of the cocaine and 49% of the fentanyl. That's insane, bro.
Is that without a doubt,
And they're communists, so naturally they are an ally of China. They have a similar ideology, and everything that they do stands to benefit China from that perspective.
this
They are political allies in that way.
government is a house of cards waiting to collapse.
Yeah, it is. And they're about to roach out.
And the Trump administration also recognizes that the best way to get the people of Venezuela to accept any kind of interim government is going to be to allow the current government to fail. So the Trump administration is very likely going to sit and watch as the economy and political foundation of Venezuela collapses. Very similar to what happened when the United States went in and took Manuel Noriega from Panama in 1989. Following that economic and political collapse of Venezuela, you'll very quickly see the United States step in to support an opposition government that's a transition government in Venezuela, built completely separate from the.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the people celebrating. Sid's got a link for me here. We're going to pull that up in just a second. I don't know if you guys have seen yet the celebrations, the just outright like joyous celebrations out in the streets of the Venezuelan people. These guys have been oppressed and repressed and put through the ringer, lived in a hellscape that they were forced to support, and their families and their businesses, their homes, their livelihoods, all of it just squeezed for every ounce they were worth into submission, and they had no choice. So naturally these guys are celebrating. Of course they're celebrating.
Cartel. Once that opposition and government is in place,
I got your link pulled up, Sid.
You'll see the U.S.
Hold up. Oh, let me just take a look. Oh, we can easily pull that up real quick. I got a new type of oil for you, big boy. Ah! Brother. Oh, man. He gonna need that. Bro, he's gonna need it. He gonna need it.
Release aid packages to Venezuela.
That's a good one, Sid. Oh my God, dang, that's good. Oh man.
You'll see the U.S. release sanctions against Venezuelan oil. You'll actually see the U.S. start to offer investment into the infrastructure of Venezuela for two important reasons. First, Venezuela sits on the largest reserve of oil in the world. Let me say that again. Venezuela controls.
Oh, largest one. Elrich 6 says, damn, Sid, tell it like it is, why don't you? He does. We know Sid here in this. He do be doing that. He tell it like it is, brother. Oh, shit. I love the memes on X. Yeah, me too, dude. You gotta love the memes, bro. Damn, Sid, tell it like it is.
On the largest reserve Venezuela for two important reasons. First, Venezuela sits on the largest reserve of oil in the world.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Your patronage is appreciated. Your donation of oil to our country is very much appreciated. Arigatou gozaimasu. Hi. Hi.
Let me say that again. Venezuela controls the single largest deposit of crude oil in the world. It's a
thank you, very nice. I love your oil. Thank you. It is good oil. Yes. You, Maduro, use different oil, okay? No longer sitting on top of the big reserve. You going to need lubricant. Big lubricant you need. Yes.
approximately 15% larger than the reserve held by Saudi Arabia, and it's just off the coast of Florida. So that means the largest reserve of crude oil in the world is just across the Gulf from the United States, and the predominant type of crude oil is known as heavy crude, which is the exact type of crude oil that Texas oil refineries were built to refine. So the Venezuelan economy stands to gain from cooperating with the United States.
I'll take that. Thank you very much.
And the United States economy stands to
Mine. Oh, I got one.
gain from cooperating with Venezuela. Donald Trump recognizes, more so than any previous president, the economic benefit that stands for the United States by seeing a political change in Venezuela, because that Venezuelan oil could almost overnight start being refined by Texas refineries, which would massively decrease the price of oil and the price of energy across the United States, while simultaneously making us less dependent on Middle East oil. That means we can leave all the corruption, all the violence.
Bro, you want to know the best meme in the world?
Hypothetical erections. 19! Suck him dry!
No! Dad!
So he's about to kill Goku, right? Obviously, because Goku has the virus. This is from DBZ Abridged. We all have seen it. And what is Vegeta saying when anybody else tries to fight or kill Goku? That's his job. That's his rival.
Does anyone else hear that?
Yeah, and it's getting closer. And it sounds an awful lot like
Mine.
Brother.
All the scandal of the Middle East behind
the oil. Mine.
And we can focus on sourcing our primary oil from Venezuela, which means that we can also predict that the transformation of Venezuela will be very similar to the transformation of Panama in the early 1990s. In the ensuing months and years immediately following the fall of Noriega, Panama suffered economically and politically. Their systems failed, their currency failed, many parts of their government failed. As I've already said, I expect the same thing to happen in Venezuela, especially in the first few months and even the first year after the loss of Maduro. However, in the first 3 years following the end of Manuel Noriega, Panama was completely transformed. An opposition government was put in place that was pro-American, sanctions were lifted, and U.S. aid packages started to flow in, creating a very strong and healthy Panamanian economy. That means that in the next 1 to 3 years, we can expect something very similar to happen in Venezuela. An opposition government will be put in place that is pro-American. That opposition government will come with the release of sanctions from the United States, as well as foreign investment and aid packages from the United States in order to rebuild the infrastructure, the political foundation, and the economy of Venezuela, particularly since a strong Venezuelan economy is going to benefit the United States economy, and Donald Trump is trying to transform the U.S. economy in his second term. Over the next few days and weeks, you and I will continue to see these 3 questions played out over and over again in media. Was the rendition of Nicolas Maduro legal or illegal? Who takes credit for that clandestine operation? And what will the United States do to support or suppress the economy and political foundation of Venezuela? I will continue paying attention to this because my family is Venezuelan.
And there's the kicker, folks. Andrew Bustamante is Venezuelan.
My wife was born in Venezuela. My father-in-law is a Venezuelan citizen. Many of our closest family members are all American citizens who were once Venezuelan immigrants. I am confident that the United States has better days ahead because of the capture of Nicolas Maduro.
Better days ahead because of the capture of Nicolas Maduro.
Confident that the Venezuelan people have better days ahead because of the rendition.
And the people will have better days ahead because of the rendition
of Nicolas Maduro. And whether or not we find that that rendition was legal or illegal, whether CIA or the Department of War takes credit for the rendition, whether or not the United States helps Venezuela or allows Venezuela to crumble.
He gives you the case as it is. He's giving you a reality as he is observing it, the facts on the ground. He makes earlier the case for why people might say it's illegal, but then of course he brings back the argument of why it would be legal. Because terrorist organization target, it's the same op that the left-wing news media praised Barack Obama for doing against Osama bin Laden. Same exact circumstances. Head of a terrorist organization designated, indicted by United States Judiciary Court as a wanted criminal, top of the line in the CIA, responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Americans, and not just like 9/11, which was awful, and very public attack, and it was a physical one that was broadcasted. But of course, those 1,500, 2,000 people are somehow like they're just as important. But it's like, how is the 300,000, or let's give it the minimum count of 100,000, not just as important? Those deaths, right?
It's all irrelevant because in the long run, we will see the American economy benefit from the improvements that will happen to the Venezuelan economy and the reduction of Venezuelan cooperation with America's closest enemy.
Wow. Let's hear that again.
Helps Venezuela or allows Venezuela to crumble. It's all irrelevant because in the
It's all irrelevant. Why?
long run, we will see the American economy benefit from the improvements that will happen to the Venezuelan economy and the reduction of Venezuelan cooperation with America's closest enemies, China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba. This is good news for me. It's good news for you, and I'll see you on the other side.
Bro. I freaking love it. Absolutely. You bet your ass, dude. So where were we? Oh, Decoy's video.
Sosha.
Claiming we're now at war.
We're officially at war with the President of Peace at the wheel of the ship with Venezuela.
Even denouncing...
No, we're not at war. So who here would define us capturing the president as a wanted criminal, indicted by a judiciary court as a criminal, a wanted terrorist in American law, in a court in New York, no less, southern New York? Who would consider that a war? Because if it is, well, pack it up, boys. War's over. Don't blink. You might freaking miss it. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? Right? Am I right? Don't blink, LOL, true. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying.
Our own soldiers.
Yo, so it's being reported right now that Caracas is under attack. This is a message for all active duty. If you ever get this, I want you to know something, that if you are in the Navy, if you are in the Air Force, and you are behind the bombing of Caracas, Venezuela, America is not behind you. You will not be celebrated as a hero. You're a piece of shit.
Then asking our enemies to take our president.
I think I speak for all Americans when I say any country is welcome to kidnap our president.
But at least some liberals aren't idiots.
I am Trump's #1 hater. I am also Venezuelan, and let me tell you, for all of you that are commenting on social media, oh my god, no war, we didn't sign for this. Every single Venezuelan that is not working for the government, the dictatorship that has been in place for more than 25 years, we are stoked.
And hopefully this is a red pill.
Brother. Damn. Did you hear that? She goes, I'm a #1 Trump hater. Like, she's like, gives all the incentives for her to hate everything that Trump does. But she's Venezuelan. And because she knows the dictatorship in Venezuela, she's like, I'm stoked for this. So it's like the one thing she probably likes about Trump. I mean, a Trump hater. Come on.
Moment for her, as it's easy for the Democrats to lie to you.
It's a red pill moment for her, bro. True, she is red pilled now. She's red
through the TV, celebrities, and social media censorship. But once they try to push through a lie about something you are an absolute expert in, you should then realize everything they've told you is also likely a lie. But that didn't stop New York City from immediately staging this completely organic and not foreign-funded protest.
A massive criminal bombing campaign on Venezuela. This war is about taking control of Venezuela.
Now, somebody printed out a bunch of signs alluding that this is about oil, with Reddit repeating this in absolutely every thread, trying to cement this is about oil. But even in the liberal media, Venezuelans correct the record.
How often do you hear the phrase blood for oil in Venezuela?
It's a question that we absolutely need to reframe here. And I am certain that every Venezuelan will support what I'm about to say. He's essentially a dictator. For 25 years, he has been torturing, imprisoning people, leading to the largest refugee crisis practically in the world. So this is absolutely not about oil. This is about us as a nation wanting to come back to the fold of Western democratic nations.
As the left's propaganda machine is getting desperate, where they previously propped up minority and immigrant voices, but now they're saying the exact opposite of the liberal elites, so nobody is buying their blatant lies anymore. As they recently called this a Venezuelan fishing boat, now conveniently forgetting how Maduro's forces literally ran over protesters. But the worst part about it is how Biden was also saying millions.
They're all praising this, and they Trump haters. I know, that's like, let's watch that girl again, okay? Let's see what's she saying.
Absolutely every thread trying to cement this is about oil. But even in the
left, we have Mariana. I love this girl already. I love her. I mean, she's gorgeous, but I love her already because she's based. She knows. See, it's that kind of moment where this is the red pill moment, right? Because when you first realize that you've been lied to, right? How awful and evil and horrible Trump is, and all this stuff that the biased left wing mainstream media, legacy media, constantly reiterates over and over again. But then when they know better, when they actually know the truth of what it's like in Venezuela, these people, right? And then they see what has happened. And then they hear their famous, pundits in the news media slam Trump for it. They're like, what? Nuh-uh. I lived there. I'm from there. I am Venezuela. I have family that lives there, etc., etc. I love this.
Liberal media, Venezuelans correct the record.
How often do you hear the phrase blood for oil in Venezuela?
It's a question that we absolutely need to reframe here. And I am certain that every Venezuelan will support what I'm about to say. He's essentially a dictator. For 25 years, he has been torturing, imprisoning people, leading to the largest refugee crisis practically in the world. So this is absolutely not about oil. This is about us as a nation wanting to come back to the fold of Western democratic nations.
As the left's propaganda machine is getting desperate, where they pray.
I mean, because she knows better. The oil's just a bonus. It's just a bonus, bro. Like, there was a payoff for us to do it, right? But everybody from Venezuela, everybody in Venezuela wanted this so badly. You can see it over and over and over.
Previously propped up minority and immigrant voices, but now they're saying the exact opposite of the liberal elites, so nobody is buying their blatant lies anymore. As they recently called this a Venezuelan fishing boat, now conveniently forgetting how much he called this a
Bro. Hang on. What? No way, brother. Hold up. Hold up. Let's turn that off. Okay. New. No. Go back. What? What's happening? Okay. Try one more time. Hey, I don't know what's going on there. Okay. I guess that's the best I can hope for. What the? My God. It's insane.
Venezuelan fishing boat, now conveniently forgetting how Maduro's forces literally ran over protesters. But the worst part about it is how Biden was also saying millions suffered under Maduro, constantly slamming President Trump because he allegedly admired him. As if this same exact attack occurred under the Democrats, every single leftist would be cheering it on, proving once again the left isn't necessarily against the overthrowing of a literal dictator, it's just that the Trump derangement syndrome has completely cut out their ability to think critically. But forget what American leftists think when the Venezuelans are ecstatic, celebrating everywhere in the streets. Literally crying tears of joy.
Felicidad, tantos años esperar esto, Señor. Esto no tiene comparación. Gracias, Dios mío.
These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's gonna explode with joy.
Trump can rescue an entire country from an oppressive dictatorship, and somehow the left will start turning on US servicemen. But their Trump derangement has finally gone too far, as even on hyper-left Reddit, trying to recruit for a protest in Los Angeles, has all the top comments calling it out, with actual Venezuelans speaking against this protest, saying how can you be against Putin but for Maduro, demanding that Reddit copy Twitter and implement geotagging to find the foreign influencers and bots. And when the literal information desert that is Reddit starts questioning their official narrative, the Democrats have zero hope in defending this, as the smallest aspect about this story seems insignificant, but the fact that they use this incident to fundraise off of is the ultimate mask-off moment. Under Biden, they were decrying Trump's alleged support of Maduro, asking for money to beat Trump. But now that Trump has arrested Maduro, the Democrats are somehow now against it, again asking for more money to beat Trump, making it abundantly obvious the left doesn't have values, goals, or at the very least, consistency. They just want more of your money. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy. Or if you want more of my content, check out my live stream channel, Decaf Decoy.
I love it. Absolutely based. Okay. I have a new source. We're going to go image, add source. Image. There we go. Where's that? There it is. All right. Yes. Now, no one can be in doubt. We know for a fact now that this is 100% a fishing boat.
And somehow the left will start turning.
That is now for certain. Yes, fishing boat. Definitely a fishing boat. Now I'm curious to see what Asmongold has said about this. Getting a coffee? No worries. No worries, Sid. Oh boy. Bro. Oh, Japan. Uh-oh. Damn. Okay. Let's check. Wow, that's a long one.
And then, oh, I saw this clip. This is crazy. Streamer Country Kitty wanted to show her chat that women can safely walk past cheerful groups of men in Cologne, Germany. However, that was not the case, as she was attacked multiple times during New Year's celebrations. Here we go.
She wanted to show her chat that women can safely walk past cheerful groups of men in Cologne, Germany. Oh no.
Men in Cologne, Germany. However, that was not the case, as she was attacked multiple times during New Year's celebrations. Here we go.
Mit Handschuhe auf. Was heißt das? Au! Das heißt... Au! Au! Fuck! Au! Ah, ich habe irgendwas abbekommen. Ich habe irgendwas gegen den Kopf bekommen. Au! Ich glaube, wenn ich so 2 Meter Türsteher Schranke, hätten die das nicht gemacht. Ah, schon wieder, Alter! Wichser!
She voted for this, probably? I don't know if she did or not. According to the streamer who was attacked twice on New Year's Eve, Twitter is now to blame because it was misinterpreted here. Twitter misinterpreted me being pelted by invaders on the street.
This is an English dub of what she said in German.
You reportedly said in your stream you wanted to show that a woman can safely get through New Year's Eve. So generally speaking, everything that you find on Twitter, you really shouldn't take seriously at all. It's best if you just completely delete your Twitter account.
I mean, let's just talk about it for what it is. A lot of women on a much higher ratio support these migration and refugee and migrant groups coming into the country. Whenever this
it's suicidal empathy
happens to one of them, I really don't feel bad for them, if you want me to be honest. I don't. People are going out there and they're voting for this to happen. And this is the reason why you can never listen to Reddit. 33,000 updates. The locked post. I'm going to scroll down this. Deleted, 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 deleted. Why are they doing that to her? Deleted, deleted. Good luck, Germany. Deleted, 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 deleted. Look at this. Deleted. Look at all these deletions. All these comments are...
Wow, dude. That is insane.
Deleted. It's because Reddit is trying to systematically suppress any sort of negative criticism towards the immigrant communities and migrant communities that have led to these European countries becoming higher crime and lower trust societies. Why are they doing it, though? Because if they let people talk about it, it'll stop happening.
What the hell? Wow, I'm at a loss.
Suicidally empathetic Dutchman tries to convince Japanese why they should let Nigerians into their country.
But we should...
Is this real?
Give every person a chance.
We have no advantages for that.
We want our country as safe as possible.
I want to ask you about Netherlands.
Netherlands.
I'm interviewing, like, what do they think about immigrants?
Immigrants.
You speak Japanese, right?
Hello. Hello.
What's your name?
Yort. How are you doing tonight?
I'm Ken.
Ken.
Ken, yes.
You okay?
Yes, I'm good. I mean, yourself is an immigrant here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Like, how is like the immigration problem in your country?
In my country?
Yes.
It's okay. I'm very left-leaning, so I'm... Immigration is okay, but you need integration.
Integration. Assimilation.
Hi.
Didn't you just say you couldn't speak Japanese very well? Didn't you literally just say that? That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, he did.
But do you think they do that?
In my country,
Yes.
they do.
Really?
Yeah.
And in your country, he doesn't. So how about that?
Right.
Do they do it in Japan though?
Not some people like you do it, but some
There's a
people is
difference,
different. Exactly. That's when they say no.
Same idea. You assimilate or
Yeah.
you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we welcome people like you to Japan because obviously you're learning Japanese.
You should welcome everyone. You should try.
You should
try.
Yeah.
Try to.
But like,
Integration, it's so easy to get. Haha, yes. Yeah, so like,
do something.
listen to this.
People is different.
I love this part.
Exactly. That's when they say no.
Same idea. You assimilate or
Yeah.
you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Base, brother. I mean, damn.
Exactly. So we welcome people like you to Japan because obviously you're learning Japanese.
You should welcome everyone. You should try.
You should
try.
Yeah.
Try to.
But like, let me tell you something. You know, like, it's true. Like some people from some certain countries, and then they say they have a war, education because of like the very like hard life there. They have more likely to have like more violent, personalities in general.
Yes. Actually, yes.
No, I
You think they
disagree.
have- All right.
No, I disagree. Okay, so.
Okay.
What's the reason?
Okay.
Our life, easy.
Yes.
Very easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Compared to, let's say, for example.
Nigeria.
For example, exactly. For example, Nigeria.
Yes.
Nigeria has had wars for 100 years.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great... Let's bring them over here. That sounds like a great idea, yeah. And keep in mind that this is a white person going to Japan. This is like a white person going to Japan. Oh, geez, this is racist. This is what it's like when a white person goes to Japan.
My stars and garters, President Ronald Reagan, my hero.
Bro.
Is this heaven?
Oh, not just heaven, Ruckus. White heaven. You see, there are many different types of people, Ruckus. So
Bro.
God created many separate, but,
Bro.
well, for the most part,
Oh
equal
my God,
heavens.
dude.
You don't say.
White heaven is for decent, good, God-fearing Christians who just happen to, well, hate everyone and everything relating to black people.
Oh my God,
that
bro.
means no Muhammad
What?
Ali, no hip-hop music, and no fucking Jesse Jackson.
What about Whoopi Goldberg?
She gone.
Nope.
Oh,
There it is.
this is heaven.
Get that bitch out of here.
No way.
Turns out that God really doesn't have that much of a problem with racism. He doesn't even remember slavery, except in February.
What?
Personally, I hate black people, Ruckus. That's why I did everything I could to make their lives miserable. Crack? Me. AIDS? Me. Reaganomics? Come on, I'm in the name. And God has rewarded me. Know why?
Cause
What's
two
that?
niggers and 2 quarters don't add up to $1.
Know why?
Cause 2 niggers and 2 quarters don't add up to $1.
Oh
Well,
my
that.
God.
And because God loves white people. And if you teach everyone on
my
earth
God.
to love the white man, you too can join us in white heaven.
Praise white God.
Oh my.
By the way, that's crazy, huh? Wow. What are the odds of that?
Fighting
inwardly.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
We can live, we can eat.
That's what happens when a white person goes to Japan.
We can do whatever we want.
Yes.
They can't.
Yes.
They need to survive day by day.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should get them here, give them time to assimilate.
Yeah.
And then integrate them into our society.
Why?
Okay, but
why?
I know it's difficult.
Listen.
But we should give every person a chance.
A chance.
Nope.
If they fuck up the chance, they should fuck off.
All right.
Nope.
But everyone deserves a chance.
Yeah. So
No, they don't.
So you're like you accept the idea of deportations if they do not assimilate.
If they fuck up, if they fuck up, they should fuck up.
But let me just.
And that's why they hide the fraud. Because they
There
want
it
to
is.
have this.
There it
this
is. That's why they hide that. So it right freaking there.
If they fuck up, they can fuck off. Because everybody agrees with that, except for the fact that the media, especially the legacy media, wants to hide every single chance they can anything they can possibly. They have so much power. They have so much reach. They're getting less strong now. They're getting less and less relevant, less and less power, less and less money. This means less and less resources to be able to cover up all the bullshit. And social media has been a huge help. But they have done and have continued to do everything and anything they could possibly do to hide, obfuscate, misdirect, mislead, misinform, and ensure that people are uninformed about every fuck up that would lead to a get the fuck out. They want to make sure that every single one of those instances is covered up, that you don't know about it. They do everything they can.
This is like a Trojan horse, basically. Basically, they actually don't have a problem with immigrants coming here and hiding fraud. They just, and I understand this is in Japan, it's different, but it's really not. This is the way they act. So they hide the crimes, and then they say they should be deported for the crimes.
Something, right?
Because they don't really care about the crimes. They just say that to pacify you.
Japan,
They say that to pacify you.
Of people who are more likely to be a little bit violent.
I'm sorry, but compared to Europe, you should not ask about women's scaredness to Asian men because we don't have the creep shot problem at all.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Huh? What? Are you kidding me?
But compared to Europe, you should not ask about women's scaredness to Asian men because we don't have the creep shot problem at all or any rape problems at all.
Yeah. Wait. No. Listen.
Well, you do.
What?
Actually, you do. What a weird thing to say. What a weird thing to say. Also, no, you don't have the creep shot problem over there. You have the rape gang problem over there. Ah, geez, I wonder which one's worse.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind that
entire gangs dedicated to it.
when Japan had the creep shot problem, you know what they did? They fixed the problem by adding a mandatory shutter sound. It's a great point. And you see how he's putting his hands on his shoulder and like this weird imposing stuff? These people are so weird.
Listen.
Hey, man to man, bro.
Yo, listen.
Bro.
Yeah, what is
man
it?
to man.
Okay. What?
And so, don't you see how
Wow, look at his face.
funny it is that like you have somebody here who's coming to Japan. He can't really speak Japanese very well, so he wants to do the interview in English. And then now he's complaining about Japan and saying that Japan is full of basically like sex perverts or, you know, weird behavior. Isn't that nuts? This is in 3 minutes. And so you can see how also that he thinks that that's acceptable to do because Asians are not as much of a protected class as, let's say, Nigerians or black people are, basically. And so that's the reason why he feels comfortable doing that. You just send this guy back to Europe.
Yeah, true.
So you see what I'm saying is that like he has no problem assigning collective guilt and a collective blame to Asians inside of that area, you know, based off of like his own biases, but he says that nobody else can have any biases either.
I mean, yes, there is, yes, I'm accepting it. There is some man steal women's panties, bras.
What do you think they don't do that in Europe? Like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
Creepy pictures, yes. But there is like, we have the lowest rape rate in Japan, in the world.
Lowest
rape.
No.
Rape, yeah, rape.
You have the lowest reported rate.
Because it's safe here.
Reported.
But how do you know
there is a large difference between rape rate?
Oh, wow. False dichotomy.
And reported rape rates.
Okay.
So if you listen to the fake numbers, they're actually on my side.
Japanese society, I like this.
Yeah, if you listen to the fake
But
numbers.
the thing is, you cannot deny that
No,
we have safe cities. More than, I guess, in...
All you have to do is just go and look at Japan. There's women walking around in skirts regularly, and there isn't the same level of security presence. You don't have people with guns constantly. It's very obvious that Japan is a lot safer, and they're not having a massive amount of rapes. Meanwhile, you have people in Europe that are importing savages into their country that are raping their women and that are hiding the statistics because that would be racist.
Italy, right?
You in Asia, in general, you have much safer cities. Like women can walk around here much safer compared to Europe or anywhere else. However, women don't report rape here at all because the rape differential in Europe compared to Asia is very large. In Europe, if I touch your butt like this, sexual assault.
Yeah.
If she goes to a club here, guys touch her butt. Different guys touch her butt every night.
You know, there's like...
We just changed the definition.
It's still sexual assault.
You're talking about rape.
Like I guarantee you that is. We're gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull it up on the side.
Christian rallies in Japan.
Actually, if anybody else, I can't pull it up right now. If anybody can look that up, I guarantee you it is sexual assault.
There's a lot of women, young women also. They are saying like, we don't want to be like London. That's what they're saying.
I feel so bad. On behalf of all white people, I'm sorry. I don't know how this guy got out. You know what this guy makes me believe in? This guy makes me believe that
we're sorry. Somebody left the cage open. Somebody left the cage open, and this guy got out. Like, on behalf of all white people everywhere, we are sorry. We should have kept this guy locked up, and he got out. He got out. We are sorry. Yeah, one got loose, guys. One got loose. Another one got loose. We gotta rein him in.
White people were an evil creation by Yakub that got out of control and broke out of containment and are now running all over the world, making everything worse.
Bro, he didn't. Why did he have to tell it like did he have to? Oh no, our secret's out, man. Our secret's out. Oh no. He's exposing it. Our fuck up. We're totally screwed now. Everybody knows. Now everybody knows that we let these retards run free. Shit. I know it. I know. We screwed up. I'm sorry. We did. We messed up. We let one go. Oh man. Who was watching? Who was on guard duty? Who's supposed to be watching this dude? Making sure these retards don't get out. Man.
It does.
Somebody wasn't paying attention. I don't know.
This makes me believe in Yakub.
We failed. We failed, boys. One got loose.
Think about it.
More than one.
Because if you bring some people...
Why?
If you bring a lot of people from war-torn country or third world...
Girls, I mean, at least we can look to the girls and say, hey, you guys fucked up too. All the Karens are running loose. You guys have not been able to rein them in for a long-ass time.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. We got Kens and Karens.
They will be more likely to have a sexual or knife crime.
Why?
Yes.
Because they
come from a shithole where they do that all the time.
educated, I guess.
Yeah.
Because their life has been destroyed.
Exactly, but it's nothing to do with the people who live here.
Yeah, oh, that's okay. Well then, bro, I had a headache today. It's okay for me to steal a hamburger.
Because their life has been destroyed is not the reason you should instantly accept them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying if you fuck up, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
The thing is that, like, people like this that say, if you fuck up, like, you fucking up, like, if you fuck up is like a, oh, wow, I accidentally caused somebody traumatic experience for their whole life that's going to ruin their life. Oops. Oh, God. Did that happen again? Oh, no. And then they also go through a million hoops and a million ways to obfuscate any of this actually happening.
It's actually
And then they
insane.
hide the crimes as best they...
No, don't expose the retards. We're sorry. We should have been watching the door. Oh man, a bunch of them got out. Sid. So who the heck was watching the cave? Man, who's got the keys? Who's got the keys?
They can. They don't actually think this. They just say this in order to make their values seem more palatable.
One loose, bro.
You should at least give them a chance. And if one chance, and this is like a humanitarian standpoint, because one chance for some people, one chance is all they need.
Yeah.
For some people, you give them one opportunity and they take 100 and they fuck up the entire society.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But are you willing to condemn 100 people to the shittiest war-torn life for one person to fuck up people here?
Yep. That was the easiest decision I've ever made in my life. Yeah, of course.
True.
Yeah.
This is why we can't let we can't.
Duh.
We can't.
Like, obviously.
Bro, we got to keep an eye.
What are we talking
on
about?
the doors. We can't.
Which is the philosophical and deep societal question you have to ask yourself.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but the thing is, like even if it's 1 out of 100, it's going to be 1% of risk for us to receive matter, right?
I understand.
Exactly.
Why
He's
would
totally
we
right. Why risk it at all?
take that risk? We have no advantages for that.
No shit, you don't. That's the entire issue. That's why you have to take that risk.
Empathy.
Yes.
Empathy, you say.
So that's why you. I see. Boy, somebody left the door open and like Philo just he ran. He's out. He's loose. He's never to be seen again. Bro is just out there in the wild. Oh, have you seen this Labrador? Have you seen this Golden Retriever? He's a special needs. He's a special needs dog. Somebody left the door open. Sid, did you got the keys? You need to. I told you to watch the door. One got loose, guys. Okay, for real. Seriously, because he just be like, hold on.
We have no advantages for that.
There are no advantages, so why would we take the risk at all in the first place, right?
No shit, you don't.
You don't have any advantages.
The entire issue.
That's the entire issue. You don't have any advantages in doing this. So
that's why you have to take that risk.
That's why you have to take the risk because there's nothing in it for you. So, and there's nothing to be gained. There's no advantage to it at all. So that's why you have to take the risk. See, we done somebody. Oh no, no, bro. We gotta save it. Somebody give him the pill. Give him the shot. It's. Oh no, he's got a brain. Oh no. It's stupid overload, and it's hurting. It's causing him to do the face. This is the symptoms of a physiological condition known as stupidity, rage. Stupid induced rage. Stupid induced rage? I don't know. We need to come up with a term for it. We need more. People need we need. Oh man, we need to form an org and hunt these guys down and round them back up, get them back inside. Like they're not supposed to be outside.
I understand. Yes.
He's supposed to be in the basement or the pen. Oh man, it's bad.
You say
yes,
exactly. That's you're a very kind. You're a very kind person.
No, but and the worst part is in the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands.
Who is on zookeeper guard duty? Come on.
Yeah.
We have the white boys everywhere. We can't let Kens just run free like this. White girls, Karens, same thing. You gotta rein them in.
Case like this 2 months ago, where a girl got killed, raped, killed and raped.
Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just what happens. Yeah, geez, guys, oops. Oh man, like I
try, but the Karens get loose. Yeah.
Jesus.
They had Stevie Wonder watch the cages. Dang it, Sid. Who had Stevie Wonder do? Bro.
Well, we got to get rid of that.
No, I knew that ain't gonna work. You can't have him watching.
Guy now.
So both at the same time.
I mean, forget the fact that he can't see. He's dead. Stevie Wonder, man, who propped up Stevie Wonder's corpse in charge of like guard duty? Like that. Oh no. Oh no.
From an immigrant, but the issue with that is obviously whenever you bring that in the news, everyone is gonna look at the news and be. You all have opinions.
Yeah.
We all have opinions.
Yeah.
That's a part of life.
Yes.
Oh no. He just keeps talking. Somebody got to put a bag over this guy's head and just gone in the alley. Take him back. Hide him away.
The problem is
he belongs inside.
We both understand. We want our country.
Guys, this is for his own good. He's at risk right now. His own safety. This is for his own safety. He's gonna hurt himself. He's already. Oh no. It's a lot.
Be as safe as possible.
Exactly.
But how much are you willing to take away from the life of other people to give
everything? Everything, the whole thing. Of course. I don't hold them at any value versus my own citizens, my own people. Of course. This is not even a question.
And
like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, duh. Why even take the risk? Yeah, like, how is this even a question?
State of safety to them.
It's like, the thing is, maybe I'm selfish.
It is.
But the thing is,
and you should be able to be selfish.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have your opinion to be selfish. That's
exactly.
fair.
I'm saying, I might say, you know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
I'm not God, I'm not Buddha.
No.
I don't want to take any risk for our women.
And that's okay. You should be able to tell that.
So you're...
And people should also not be able to condemn you for that opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will tell you. No.
Very intelligent. Like, because some people just say, oh, you're racist, you're Nazi, you know, like...
It's not no Nazism.
Calling Japanese people Nazis.
No
God.
It's, if you have an opinion, you should be able to voice that, and other people should be able to judge that, and shut the fuck up. Because I have an opinion, he has an opinion.
And you can see just a few minutes ago that he was talking about how problematic the news was. So this isn't actually something that he's saying. He's just saying this to make his viewpoint more palatable. The fact is that if people like this had control, they would also censor and control the news in order to make people think a certain thing too. Yeah, that's what they do.
He has an opinion.
He has an opinion.
It's a guy.
All opinions are fair.
Exactly.
We all have the same voting rights. But we should discuss about the opinions, not... Let's say I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
But we should still be able to talk about it.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。こんな感じで
I don't know what.
I mean, it seemed like he gave his talking point, and he thinks Asian people are racist. Like,
This is I can't
and he racist against Asians.
speak Japanese.
Nani?
Yeah. Okay. I'll link you guys the video. And then, so the title of this video is called, let me get this straight, Immigration is Good, Fuck That, Not in Japan.
Bro, we love that. That's funny.
Clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran now turning deadly, with at least 3 people killed and 17 injured at a protest today, according to a semi-official state news agency. The demonstrations have been escalating for days, sparked by worsening economic conditions in the country. Cost of living is high, inflation is soaring, and Iran's currency recently crashed to a record low against the dollar.
Jesus.
This video shows a protester sitting in the street, appearing to defy officers, leading some online to draw comparisons to this image from Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, it's the first thing I thought of too.
In Tehran, a number of shopkeepers closed their doors in protest earlier this week. They appear to be the biggest demonstrations in the country since 2022, when mass protests erupted over the death of Mahsa Amini. The 22-year-old died in police custody after she was arrested for not properly wearing a hijab. The latest unrest comes amid a period of heightened
This NBC News, you gotta be kidding me. This NBC News, how the hell is this NBC? They never report this stuff.
Tension between Iran.
Yep, that's exactly it. Why do you think that the U.S. went to war with Iraq, Syria, Libya, and Iraq, and now wants Iran regime change? It has nothing to do with America. You're not even, America is not the center of every political event that happens in the entire world.
Yeah,
I know this might be hard for you to disconnect from, but has it ever occurred to you that maybe the Iranian people don't want to be oppressed by a bunch of psycho fucking religious nutballs? Think about that.
And the West. The Iranian president recently said his country is, quote, engaged in a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. And earlier this week, President Trump issued this stark warning to Iran over its nuclear program.
I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
Dozens of protesters have been arrested. And the State Department tonight saying demonstrators are facing, quote, intimidation and violence from Iran's government, and is calling on the crackdown to end. Kate?
Yep, no, this is exactly what's happening. And the water crisis in Iran is the final straw for people. Yeah, of course. Come on, Secret Service has fingers in that. What are you even thinking about? So I don't even understand what your logic is. So because you've invented a conspiracy that the United States is the one that's trying to push for this Iranian regime change. So now it's bad. It doesn't even make sense. It makes sense when all they care about is hating America. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's generally what's happening. And it's just getting worse and worse.
To a near standstill, the whole country, due to a government order,
look at all this
shutdown
Holy
caused
shit.
by protests across the country against their government. This is the biggest in 3 years. Our next guest says the Iran protests are about far more than just the cost of living, which, by the way, is skyrocketing.
Yeah,
Let's
it's a
bring in
shithole.
Jonathan Hironoff. He's Israel's international spokesperson at the United Nations.
Iran has 48% inflation. That's pretty bad.
Women, Life, Freedom, Revolt.
Yeah.
Jonathan, your thoughts about what might be different about day 6 now of this unrest in Iran, because we've seen this before.
They're roaching out hard.
We've seen this before, and great to be with you, Brian. I think it's important to note that the protests that are taking place currently in Iran are not just about the dwindling economy, not just about the currency plummeting. It's very much a culmination of 46 years of the Iranian people having been brutalized by their regime, and they're saying enough is enough. And we're seeing protests increase in terms of where it's spreading to more than a dozen of Iran's 31 provinces. And it's not just the shopkeepers and the bazaar owners and the merchants who are taking part. You've got Gen Zers, you've got young people, you've got old people. And
I think it's primarily young people that I've seen. There's been a lot of young people.
Everyone is collectively saying that they've had enough of this very brutal regime.
I mean, talk about inflation. You know, people complain about 2.7%.
Do you see his timing as coincidence or link? Trump threatening Iran and all of a sudden mass protests? I actually don't.
Hey, Sid, I know that you watch Ember. Do you do you think you can confidently find the video that she made? Because I never got to see. I got to see just like a tiny little clip of it once. she made a video about the Square Enix localization, like the part of the localization team. She was like an activist, like she was somehow connected to or involved with like Sweet Baby Inc. or something like that. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know. If you don't, that's fine. I will try to keep looking for it.
I think that really there's probably a good chance. So Iran is probably this could be their play. I don't really know, but they could be trying.
Lady was like, she was fired, right? Because she posted some like really bad shit on X, on her social media, and she was fired. And then Ember covered it and exposed like all of the crazy ass shit that she was involved in and that she was pushing for.
To drum up a conflict in the eyes of the people between Iran and Israel or Iran and America in order to make the people in that country who are patriotic side with Iran to prevent making people think that Iranian government has failed them. So like basically you're falling back on, you know, people being afraid for their country and hoping that that nationalism will take over and they won't be able to look at it objectively. Do you see what I'm saying? I think that's definitely a possibility of what's happening, but I think also like us bombing those Iran centers as well, I think that every single thing that we've done has made them weaker over time. And generally, like that's always been my position on this, is that like I think that we should keep bombing Iran to the extent that they keep trying to make nuclear weapons. We absolutely should. I don't want them with nuclear weapons. I don't want them with ICBMs. I don't want them with anything. They're a bunch of fucking psychos, and I don't want to have to deal with them at all. So fear is their ultimate weapon. Absolutely. So yeah, bombing's helped a lot. People need help. Yeah. And so every single time that happens, though, it chips away at it chips with Israel. What do you talk? Every single conversation about Iran doesn't have to do with Israel. Like, there are some people that try to make everything about Israel because Israel and Iran have problems, but Iran can exist as a separate problem that is completely different from Israel. Like, Iran, even if Israel didn't exist, Iran would still be a problem. It has nothing to do with that. So my point is that I think that what's happening now is that they've chipped away so much at the credibility because an Iranian government and any government that's like an oppressive, totalitarian, military dictatorship, basically, or totalitarian, I don't know, you can use 50 different words, right? But the point is, any shitty government that's controlling, they have to maintain the illusion of power and the illusion of fear. And the moment that that's gone, then the people revolt and they're dead. That's the reason why they're doing it.
Inflation here. In Iran, it's at 42.2%, $1 compared to 1.4 million reals. That's their currency. So people are saying we can't afford anything. There also is a water shortage. And how do they feel about billions of dollars, between $1 and $2 billion being sent to Hezbollah since the war ended, and about $300 million being sent to Hamas while they're living in these conditions?
Yep, exactly. Iran is funding terrorism all around the world. 1 USD is equal to 42,000 Iranian rial. Yeah, it's really fucking bad.
Is Iranian people very vocally linking Tehran's destructive foreign policy to their own economic misery. When they can't afford to provide food and water on the table for their families.
Absolutely.
At the same time, they're seeing the regime pump billions of dollars into terrorist proxies abroad. That's going to irritate people, and that's why they're going into the streets.
Look, should we get involved in unrest inside countries? It's
irritate is a massive understatement. You talk about freedom and totalitarianism. Should I remind you of what happened during COVID and until Elon bought Twitter? Yeah, go ahead and remind me about that and then compare it to the Islamic regime of Iran. Go ahead and talk about getting banned on a social media website. It's the same as a police force that's going around and policing whether women are showing their hair or not. There are levels of control and levels of totalitarianism that the Western mind can't even comprehend. You don't even know how bad it is. Like, yeah, that was bad that we had that happen here, but that's nothing compared to what's going on over there. It's not even in the same universe.
dangerous, risky proposition. In 2009, not only did we not get involved, we didn't say a word when President Obama was president. He wanted to do that horrible Iranian deal that fell flat on his face and was being abused, and now it's been unwounded. But listen to what President Trump just put up on Truth Social a few hours ago, saying this: if Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to the rescue. We are locked and loaded, ready to go. Thank you for your attention on this matter. What does this do?
I think it puts the regime on watch, and even if they don't take that message seriously, I think it will also encourage international organizations like the UN, Western governments, and mainstream media to actually focus on what's going on in Iran.
Well, it's also good to give the Iranian people a degree of like feeling like somebody's on their side. I mean, I think that matters a lot too.
Been lacking up until this point.
I mean, you think about Iran. They've been kicked out of Syria, thankfully, right? Whatever you think of the regime, they're not welcome there.
That's right.
They have a foothold in Iraq.
And now the guy from Syria is here in the United States. He's in the White House. Everything's fine. We're able to do business with him again. And if there's a problem, we can work with the government. Everything can be a lot better than it is now. That's it.
People don't even know how good we have it here, man. They don't even know how good we have it.
There could be something done there to free Iraq to have their own elections.
That tweet made more people come to the streets because Trump gave us hope. Yeah, no doubt.
A ripple effect throughout the region.
This could have a transformative impact, not just in Iran, but in the entire region. When we're talking about things like Abraham Accords, imagine an Iran that is no longer governed by these brutal dictators and actually has a leadership that wants to pursue peace.
So what?
Yeah, you've got to keep in mind, like, I mean, I showed the geography of Iran before. Iran has the potential to be like an incredibly rich country, probably a top 10, maybe not top 10, maybe not, I don't know, but at least a top 20 wealthiest countries in the world based off of their geography, the amount of human capital they have, and just in general, their history. Iranians historically are incredibly well educated and a very intelligent people. Like, this is just, it's a factual statement. You just look this up yourself. You're going to find it. And Persian Empire version 2. Yeah, exactly. So they should be poised to be in this position. These people should not be living in a shithole. It's ridiculous. And it's a total perversion of what I think that what their destiny should be. Persians, not Iranians.
Agreed.
Yeah, it will be soon.
The next step for the U.S.
Persia used to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest empire at times. It was.
Characteristically brave and bold and direct in his message this morning. I think we should continue to focus on what's going on inside Iran.
But if they kill protesters, and they have. They killed the 37-year-old
I'm sure they kill people.
And they've taken a couple of dozen women into prison, put them in the worst prison. So aren't they actually calling us out? Are we at risk for saying things and not backing it up?
Well, I think what should
I don't know about that.
Happen if we're just looking at New York and the United States. I think the United Nations should step up, and the United States has definitely done a tremendous amount. Israel is very supportive of the people of Iran, and we should be.
This is true, and I know people are very poised against Israel. But the truth is that Iran and Israel, before this takeover, had a number of collective goals that they were trying to achieve together. Like, for example, there was a pipeline that they were doing together. And so there is a point where Iran and Israel can get back and they can work together again, because it happened before, and it's just because of the current government why it's not happening. So yeah, before the dog Ayatollah, yeah, exactly, right? So I think it will happen.
These diplomatic tools and other measures when they don't work, but
and that'll be better. That will be better for us, and also better for Israel, and it'll just make everything better. Straight up, it will just be better.
It'll be better
the
for
United
Iran.
Nations. They've been very silent about what's going on in Iran. The Secretary General hasn't said anything. There's been no
All right. Let's get in it. Actually,
Does she have mental problems? I don't know. I have no idea. But my point is that I feel like he's definitely been browbeaten and mentally kind of This is one thing that happens because, like, iDubbbz, it seems to me, and all right, we're gonna get into a little bit of parasocial behavior, okay? And I apologize, I very rarely do this, but we're gonna do it because he loves to talk, and I think this is very annoying. And I want to talk about this, all right? I was talking about this with somebody else, and now I'm gonna talk about it. So,
here we go.
I think that iDubbbz is actually very much like me. iDubbbz is extremely like I am. I've met Ian. I've talked to Ian. I've seen his content over the years. Ian is an asshole, but he's also a very passive, live and let live, kind of easygoing guy. He's a very easy, relaxed guy to get along with. This isn't a guy to get stressed out, to get angry. Like, he might get anxious, maybe something like that, but he's not a confrontational, aggressive, hostile person. He's just not. He's not that kind of guy. And so his girlfriend, though, I think absolutely is. And I think that dissonance and that friction between those two personalities, because I can guarantee you that whenever there's a conflict, she's the one getting mad and he's the one saying, like, bro, like, stop, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this, right? And so that's, I think, kind of what happened, is that you do that for long enough and you get into a position where you're basically, you know, mentally held hostage by this. And he's the opposite of Seer. I don't think this is that. No, Seer is outgoing and funny. It's not like iDubbbz isn't outgoing at all. It's more that he is not the same in this way. So yeah, it's a personality thing. It's a psychiatric disorder, codependency or something like that. I don't know about that. Yeah, he's submissive. Like, yeah, he's unironically submissive. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But whenever you're in a relationship with another person who's dominant and that person doesn't genuinely respect you, it can become toxic.
All right. Let's see what XQC says about all this.
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son las 1:58 de la mañana. Están atacando el fuerte Fiuna.
Real? Real or Arma 3?
Ok, siguen las explosiones.
Bro.
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son las 1:58 de la mañana. Están atacando el fuerte Fiuna.
Bro, we gotta check some of this out. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Spain's Sanchez rejects. Okay, that's one. It's one of these three. Bro. Actual Venezuelans right here. Can't find it? No worries, kid. That's crazy. Who do they want to place in charge of Venezuela and Iran? Why is Israel always involved? What?
Israel's not involved in this at all.
Thank you, Mr. President Donald Trump. Thank you. Maduro porta coca. Maduro narcotraficante.
Thank you, President Trump.
Venezuela libre. Regresen, que en Estados Unidos no lo quieren. Regresen, que Trump no lo quiere. Regresen, que Trump no lo quiere. Regresen, que Trump no lo quiere.
Dang, dude. Holy shit. Hold on. Wait a minute. You gotta be kidding me. This is
But his
in
actions belie
2020. In 2020, Chuck Schumer, who right now is the majority leader or the minority leader of the Democrats in Congress. He's the leader of the Senate for the left for the Democrats right now. But back in 2020, he was mad at Trump. He criticized Trump for not bringing an end to the Maduro regime. Schumer said, quote, "The president brags about his Venezuela policy. Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace.
Well, we know how that panned out once he got back in office. If he had just a little bit more time back then, it would have gotten done then too. Obviously. Obviously, it takes time for the CIA and the Special Ops and the Navy SEALs to conduct an operation like this. Duh.
Palace. Or at least...
This time, he didn't give a shit about the optics and how they were going to try to play it out in the media. He just went up and did it. Based.
Waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began. He brags about all these things he wants.
Wow. So he mad. He mad that he didn't bring an end to the Maduro regime, and now he's mad that he did. Now he's mad that he followed through. Wow.
There is no terrorist group like Al-Qaeda operating there that has...
Nothing to do with American security. Yeah, it is. It obviously is. The oil is just a bonus. Two things can be true at the same time, and we've seen what Venezuelans have to say about it. They love this. Man. This is crazy, guys. There's a video of Ember talking about my time with the fuel rats. Oh, yeah? Yeah, you could share that for sure.
idiots. Venezuelans to any administration. We're giving it back to the people. Oh my God. Is this guy alive? See if this guy's live. No? Okay. Just a trick. Okay. Stream. I got it pulled up, but next order. Breaking. President Trump just released a video of the U.S. military striking a drug boat from Venezuela heading to America carrying 11 Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists who were killed in the strike. Trump. Earlier this morning, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Got him. Got him. Oh, Emaru, I'm not following Emaru? That's crazy. That electrician I'm not following? You gotta be kidding me.
That's a good answer. What would you assume is the most major threat on the world stage? Anybody, just call it out. You don't have to raise your hand.
Definitely Russia.
Definitely Russia. That's confident. I like it. Who says Russia? Anybody agree with her? Hands? Okay, great. Who else?
China.
Stop yelling at me, but China is a good answer. Anybody? Who else? China?
North Korea?
North Korea. Any North Korea takers?
I mean, as far as who's the most corrupt and like evil government, it's North Korea for sure. They're not a threat. They're so not a threat. They're so corrupt and so poorly managed that they couldn't muster or manage to throw a fit, let alone threaten the United States. But they are the most evil and the most they violate the most human rights in the world, for sure. But Venezuela is right up there on the corruption index.
And Venezuela? Anybody? No? Oh, yeah. One guy in the back. A little worried about Venezuela. Everybody's cool with Venezuela? No threat? Okay. Let me ask you this. Which one of these places can claim to have the largest oil deposit on the planet? More than Saudi? More than Iran? Wow. Okay. What about things like gold? More than all the mines in Africa combined?
What? Then why are there people starving in the streets? Well, gee, I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why their people are suffering in concentration camps and their dictators pushing drugs into, like, it's the worst, most disastrous, most devastating kind of, like, considering their resources, it's devastating the way their nation is being run. I cannot believe that. Wow, I'm just shocked by this. That's insane? Yeah, it is.
The fact is that Venezuela is arguably the single greatest resource of oil and minerals on the planet. So, why is this country in the midst of one of the greatest humanitarian crises in modern history? Let's meet President Nicolas Reyes. After rising to power on a wave of nationalist pride, in a mere 6 years, this guy has crippled the national economy by half. He has raised the poverty rate by almost 400%. Luckily for the rest of us, he's up for re-election. So, who's running against him? This is Gloria Bonalde. Now, Gloria is a history professor turned activist. She's running against him on a social justice platform and on the strength of, in my humble opinion, just not being an asshole. Analyst predictions, as of today, have the chances of Venezuela's total economic collapse at 87%. On the news, they'll call it a crisis. But on the world stage, they'll call it a failed state. If you've never heard that term, other examples of a failed state in recent history are Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. And if that's not bad enough news for you, well, Venezuela is also the only one of these places within 30-minute range from the U.S. of next-gen nuclear missiles. You will not hear about any of this on the news because the biggest players on the world stage do not want you to. To them, unstable governments are nothing more than the greatest of opportunities. So, Russia, China, can never be the most major threat until countries like Venezuela leave the door open to our very own backyard.
Wow, bro. Holy shit. That is, wow. We gotta keep that one and bookmark that shit. Wait, bookmark.
What would
Yep, we're blocking that, idiot. You can't trust these people, man. That's insane, yeah. I mean, it is absolutely insane. I mean, and so what? And your point is, all the death and destruction and poverty that the people of Venezuela are suffering, when they're like so close to the U.S. and we could so easily fix it, and then both countries could massively benefit from a massive pool of resources and a booming economy to lift up the people of Venezuela and benefit the United States as a trade partner. Are you kidding? Why? Like, I don't understand. Why would that be a bad thing at all? Like, at all? Wait, no. I meant to block this guy. All right.
Has that slowed down over the years?
Rescues in and of themselves have dropped off precipitously. Like the most I like usually like in on the, you know, I only really have the opportunity to rap weekends these days, and let's see, in the morning when I wake up, and usually by lunchtime I usually will, like, if I have anything else to do, I'll do something else. Like I'll play another game, or I'll go like grocery shopping or something. But it's rescues have dropped off substantially within the last like year, especially with colonization. There's far fewer rescues. We still do get code reds. I've had to handle a few, like the last couple times I was on station with the rats. I had a couple of code reds that I had to deal with. So we absolutely still get them. It's nowhere near what it was, say, 2 years ago. Just the sheer number. I'll actually see if I can pull up the stats. Let me see if I still have the link to our stats. And I can actually maybe even pull that up on screen.
Dude, I definitely want to check that out for sure later. That's one of the coolest things ever, you know what I mean? I'm not seeing one Venezuelan and Matt Trump arresting, not one. Bro. Bro. From Augustine Antonetti. Love it. Damn, dude. For some reason, the liberal media is not showing the images of the Venezuelans in the street celebrating the removal of Maduro. Why is that? Gee, I couldn't guess. And then the only thing you'll ever see from the left is like, oh, he's only doing it for the oil. Yeah, he's doing it for that too. Yeah, absolutely. There was a huge, massive economic benefit for us and the Venezuelan people for us to do this. You absolutely bet your ass there was. And the point being, like, even if that was the only reason, look at this. This is crazy, dude. Heart, yes. Bro, 152,000 hearts, likes for a yes. Do you agree with the capture of Nicolas Maduro? And for the no's, it's a repost. 3.5K. Brother. Everybody agrees with this. Everybody. Venezuelan refugees celebrating. This is the same clip. This is from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Wait. Hold up. Yeah, Buenos Aires. And this one is not that one. The other one was there's one of these places that's in Augustine. Oh yeah. That's loud. Bro. Samantha Smith says, my immigrant mother always told me, the only people who want communism are those that have never lived under a communist regime. She's right. And if you need proof, this is the sound of millions of Venezuelans celebrating the capture of communist dictator Nicolas Maduro. Bro. You can hear the whole city cheering. Holy crap. Bro, they're free. Of course they're celebrating. Ollie London. Venezuelan woman slams liberals protesting against the U.S. ousting Maduro. You don't know what it is to live like that. You are too freaking busy in your Starbucks with almond milk, mother effer. Whoa.
Walking with Rolex in their hands. If you are not from Venezuela, you better shut the fuck up. I've seen a lot of videos of gringos trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. You don't even know the difference between Venezuela and Mexico. You can't even point Venezuela in a fucking map. You don't know what is to live in starvation. You never saw a family member dying because you didn't have the medication, while the members of the Chavismo are walking with Rolex in their hands. Do you want to know how many people died trying to come to America, going through a jungle? Do you want to know how many women were raped there? We are 8 million of Venezuelans who have left Venezuela. You don't know what is to live like that. You are too freaking busy eating your Starbucks with almond milk, you motherfucker. I have a question for you guys. Where were you when they were killing us? Where were you when they were killing students? Students who didn't have any weapons. You were too freaking busy drinking your Starbucks with oat milk. So you better shut the fuck up and take Venezuela out of your filthy mouth.
Bro! Dang, dude. Oh my god. That is wild. Wow. Holy shit. Yeah, true. Holy crap.
If you are not from Venezuela, you better shut the fuck up. I've seen a lot of videos of gringos trying to explain Venezuela.
Woo. Basically, even providing water bottles without EU approved attached caps. What? Oh my god. No. Dang, dude. This is crazy. Floating door, what's up? My bro. I got a video about Square Enix by Hypnotic. Okay. I'll pull that up on the side as well. Bro, this is crazy though. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Dang. Even the canine space is hidden? Bro, dude, that's funny. I know. Venezuela. Nearly 8 million people were forced to leave their country under Maduro. Inflation erased everything. Families crossed the border with nothing. People cried in the streets begging for food, work, and safety. An entire brain power generation left. The young, the educated, the future. What kept many families alive was the money sent back by those who escaped. At the time, Colombia gave legal refuge when they had nowhere else to go. Some of the people
closest to me are Venezuelans. I have lived this with them. I have seen what was done to them with my own eyes. Today, every single one of them is crying with happiness. Not just happy. This is trauma healing level ecstatic. This is a day that will go down in history. A dream come true. God bless the United States of America. And thank you, Mr. President. Dang, dude. Dang, dude. I love it. Venezuelans throw a massive party in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yeah, we saw the clip of this. This is ridiculous. They're like... all the people in Buenos Aires in here, in this celebration, almost all, there are approximately 220,000 Venezuelans living in Argentina. Almost all have migrated to Argentina over the past decade due to the Venezuelan refugee crisis, where 8 million people fled the country.
How are you guys? Where are you from, guys? No? Hi, guys. No more war. Where are you from? Here. Here? And why are you protesting right now? Today?
No more wars in Venezuela.
No more wars in Venezuela. And you know about the situation in Venezuela?
Yes.
What do you know about the situation in Venezuela? So, you want to give me an answer? Because we can talk. I'm not aggressive or anything. I just want to talk, actually. So we have here a group of people that they are protesting because they want no more war in Venezuela.
Bro.
But all these people, there's nobody here from Venezuela. So from all these people, nobody is from Venezuela. This is people from United States, this is people from another places, but there's no people from Venezuela. And actually, I am from Venezuela. Andrés Bermúdez Portillo, from Maracaibo, Venezuela. I spent time in jail because of the regime of Nicolás Maduro. We have 25 years with a dictatorship. And right now, in the moment that somebody take attention of that situation, people decide to protest because they don't want war. So in the past 5 years of 30 million of people that live in Venezuela, more than 10 million leave the country. So these people is right now protesting because they don't want that we, the Venezuelan people, recover our freedom. So these people don't want that Venezuela be free. These people is just here because they want to attack Donald Trump, and they want to use the name of my country and the name of my people to do this without caring about all the people that has died and is suffering right now in a jail in Venezuela because of this regime.
Wow, man. Holy schmolies. That was a
How are you guys? Where are you from, guys?
Right there. Wow.
No? Hi, guys. No more war. Where are you from? Here.
Man. That's just crazy. That's crazy. Holy crapanola. Floating Door, how you doing today, brother? How you doing? Dang. Yeah, man. It's just crazy out there. Holy crap.
Real? Real or Arma 3?
That guy was epic? Yeah. Yeah, he was epic, all right.
Ok, siguen las explosiones.
These accounts, I don't know what these are. Are these like Chinese is live coverage of Andy.
VPI-TV, which is a Venezuelan news account I follow. Okay, there's a report of explosions in the coastal town of La Guaira.
These are scary though, no? Why did they make those scary? Jesus.
Mira, huevón, durísimo, chamo. Ya vas a ver un incendio, pero...
So why are they doing all that?
Una vaina... Oye, oye. Marico, está pasando...
Jungle Mines $250 pop channel.
Otra vaina en el aeropuerto, papá.
¿Para qué hacemos? ¿Para qué hacemos?
Aquí, acá.
Que se quede allá.
Sí. Ven, ahí. Mira, huevón, durísimo, chamo. Ya vas a ver un incendio.
Bro. This is called the Corruption Perception Index. It is conducted by all of the, most free, democratic, cross-nations, independent study of human rights in the world. Okay? Okay? South in 2024, okay? The most corrupt country in the world, South Sudan. Next, Somalia. Next, Venezuela. Next, Syria. Yemen. Man, they are more corrupt than North Korea. That's insane. That's insane, bro. That is crazy, dude. That's literally the most crazy, that's the craziest damn thing I've ever heard of. Haiti, brother. Like, what are we talking about here? Oh my God, dude.
Pero una vaina... Oye, oye. Marico, por algo está pasando.
It's insane. Civilian buildings.
Ya, marico.
Ya, vaya mismo. Oh yeah, in that video, yeah.
Ok. Levanta la vaina, levanta la vaina.
For every adversary, Venezuela has become a hotbed for every adversary of the United States to operate.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, we already saw that. Like,
bro.
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We're joined now by the chairman.
We have the Karen Media. We have the Karen Legacy Media. Number one Karen right here. Second to none almost. I think that CNN bitch is probably number one, but honestly, they're all tied. They work hard for the top ranking Karen position. But this particular one is not a very bright Karen. This is a particularly stupid Karen. It's a Karen with very little brain power, brain cells, intelligence, common sense, logic, full of hypocrisy. This is look no further than to this woman for the quintessential moronic, retarded Karen. Here we go.
Of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton.
But we're going to talk to her anyway. We're going to see what she got to say. Even though she ain't got to say nothing, she's just going to try to lead her best with questions that are completely biased.
Good to have you here, Senator.
Thanks, Margaret.
You have oversight of the intelligence community, which was deeply involved in this operation to go into Venezuela militarily and extract Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Does the U.S. still assess that the regime in Venezuela is made up of narco-terrorists with ties to Iran, Russia, China, and Cuba?
Of course.
Well, first off, let me commend not only our military, as President Trump said, this was an excellent operation. Only the United States military could have pulled it off, but they couldn't have pulled it off without the support of the professionals in the intelligence community, especially at the Central Intelligence Agency. And I'm glad that we have a director, John Ratcliffe, that has restored confidence in the CIA and the president has. I think the president respects the CIA as much as he ever has. It's a great day, not just for our military, for our CIA.
Obvious.
There's no question that the people in Venezuela who are still in charge of the apparatus of the government are sanctioned and indicted officials, and they've been in league with Nicolas Maduro until just yesterday. I think President Trump wants to give them a chance to turn a new page. Now, that's happened in the past. If you look at what's happened in Syria, as you know, Ahmed al-Shara used to be an Islamic terrorist. He's now effectively a pro-American leader of Syria. Muammar Gaddafi, the same way, had much blood on his hands after the Iraq War. He turned over a new page and came out of the cold. Now, the difference in those two cases is they made concrete concessions to the United States and our policy goals and interests, or they had a longer history of turning the corner like Ahmed al-Shara has.
Or it's an entirely new government.
We've got to make sure that the people who are now in charge of the apparatus of the Venezuelan government are not going to continue Nicolas Maduro's ways. And I think that's what the president made clear yesterday.
But it sounds like you think that's actually possible for these individuals to cut all ties to the cartels?
The president wants to give them a chance to turn the page in Venezuela and to help America achieve our policy goals there.
How much time would you allow for that?
I wouldn't allow much personally, but I know those conversations are ongoing. As Secretary Rubio said earlier on the show in your interview, we want them to stop the drug and the weapons trafficking. We want them to take the refugees back. We want them to kick out the Iranians, the Cubans, the Islamic radicals like Hezbollah.
Exactly right.
And just return to being a normal nation that will help build stability, order, and prosperity, not just in Venezuela, but in our backyard.
Should a free and democratic...
I mean, when every Venezuelan is celebrating this, why do they attack TDS? Absolutely, Elrich. You're right, 100%.
Venezuela still be a goal of the United States of America? And if so,
Stream
do
Hub,
you hear
good
from
to
the
see you.
administration a plan to transition to that?
I think it should.
Secretary Rubio wasn't.
I think it should be a goal. The opposition leaders, Ms. Machado, Mr. Gonzalez, have said they think there need to be new elections. I hope the government that's right now in place in Venezuela will allow them to return, along with many other exiles who have left, political exiles who have left Venezuela, and that in some period of time, it probably is not going to be days or weeks, maybe a number of months, that you can have new elections in Venezuela that are free and fair. The Venezuelan people have made clear now under Nicolas Maduro that they do not want a Chavista regime governing them. They want to say in their own future. Venezuela has a long history of stable, orderly government that was friendly to the United States. We are their #1 customer for oil, and we work together to help build prosperity and stability in our own backyard. I hope that we can do that again with the future government in Venezuela.
The CIA, or CBS is reporting that the CIA source inside the Venezuelan government helped the U.S. track Maduro's location leading up to this capture by the Army's Delta Force. The president said yesterday the U.S. should not pay out that $50 million bounty that was on the head of Maduro. Does that mean that the CIA asset inside still works for us?
Well, I have no comment on CIA sources or methods in Venezuela or elsewhere.
But they won't be receiving the $50 million reward?
Well, I'll simply say that The CIA's amazing work here that has instilled such confidence in the president is a reminder not just to Nicolas Maduro's cronies in Venezuela, but other bad guys all around the world, that we have very good insights into what they're doing and what they're up to.
So when the president says we will run Venezuela, you are confident that there are actual American assets helping to do that? Is that how I should
I'm
interpret
confident that we have very good insight into Venezuela and other adversaries, foreign nations, and terrorist groups around the world.
What does she want him to say? He can't give away classified intel to endanger our agents. Is she stupid?
That's why the president has such confidence in John Ratcliffe and the CIA. Well, China was trying to provide support to Venezuela during a U.S. pressure campaign, but where were they when Delta Force went in and got Nicolas Maduro? They were nowhere to be found. And frankly, that's the same thing you saw in June with China and Russia and Iran. We struck Iran, China and Russia did nothing. They stood idly by. That's a reminder that the United States is still the world's dominant superpower. Our friends are very happy today. Our enemies are very worried.
But the person running the country, Delcy Rodriguez, spoke yesterday with Russia's top diplomat. They are in contact with Russia. The defense minister has deep, deep ties to Russia. Is there a U.S.-Russia agreement here? Because there has been speculation based on testimony to Congress back in 2019 by one of Trump's top Russia advisors, Fiona Hill, that Russia has been floating a Venezuela for Ukraine deal here for some time.
No,
is there any such deal?
No, this was a U.S. operation that was designed to remove Nicolas Maduro because he was a U.S. indicted drug trafficker. And you don't get immunity from American justice when you're indicted by our courts just because you're the illegitimate communist dictator of another country.
But to be clear, that's not what I'm saying here. Is there an implication that if Russia doesn't meddle in America's backyard, South America, the United States will do something less in Ukraine, which Russia calls its backyard?
No, there's no such implication. And obviously, Russia doesn't need any kind of pretext to do so. It's invaded Ukraine twice over the last 11 years. There's no such implication here at all. And this was an operation that the United States conducted.
As if that would have any effect.
Without any coordination or cooperation from other countries to advance our national interest, which is to stop the drug trafficking and stop Venezuela from cooperating with countries like Russia and China and Cuba and Iran.
The president said Saturday that a second wave military attack had been planned. It wasn't necessary, but it could still be carried out. What would necessitate it, and what would you support?
Well, what I took the president to.
She is trying so hard. Yeah, bro, she's trying real hard, real hard.
The main is that what we just did with Nicolas Maduro could be done again to other Venezuelan leaders. Several of them are indicted in U.S. courts. They're sanctioned by the United States and Canada and Europe.
Including the VP.
And if they continue down the path that Maduro took the nation of Venezuela, then we could conduct the same kind of operation as them. I took that as the president urging them to change their ways or face the same consequences.
And would you support a stabilization force? U.S. boots on the ground, as the president said he wouldn't rule out?
We already had boots on the ground, as Nicolas Maduro learned the hard way. It's always the president's option to use the American military to protect American citizens and interests. And obviously, we have many American citizens inside of Venezuela, and we have many interests and property as well.
But
I don't think the president.
Combat and stabilization forces are.
But I don't think he plans to do that. And I think we've seen too. The president's way of war over the last or over 5 years in office. If you look at 4 major operations, the killing of the ISIS leader in Syria, the drone strike against the Iranian terrorist mastermind in Iraq, the strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, and now this capture of Nicolas Maduro. When our vital national interests are implicated, the president takes bold, audacious, direct action. He accomplishes the mission, and then the mission is over. In some ways, this is the greatest mission of them all.
And I believe most consequently, there have been no United States soldiers casualties in any of these operations as far as I know. Certainly none since he's been in office this time around. I don't know if there were any when he got the ISIS leader, but I mean, as far as I know, everything has been conducted with absolute clean precision. No U.S. soldier casualties at all this time around, so far as I know.
I mean, as impressive as our military was in Iran in June, or in its first term in Iraq and Syria against those terrorist masterminds, it's probably harder to capture someone and get out with no American loss of life than it is to kill a target or to blow up nuclear facilities.
So you are drawing a distinction there in terms of authorities and use of the military. The War Powers Act requires the president to notify Congress of the reason for committing troops within 48 hours of their deployment and requires they be removed within 60 to 90 days unless Congress authorizes it. You okay with this open-ended commitment to keep forces as they are?
Well, I think he has removed the troops. They were only there for a couple hours to nab Nicolas Maduro.
You're talking about the Delta Force operators who are on the ground, but there is a significant military buildup all around South America right now.
Yes.
You're comfortable with that?
That's in international waters, you dumb hoe. Oh my God.
No, I strongly support it. I mean, part of that deployment was to collect intelligence, to conduct this operation, to quarantine the oil trade that Venezuela was sending to Cuba or sending to our adversaries
but it's not mission
around the world. We won't have accomplished our mission until Venezuela starts acting like a normal nation. It stops the drug trafficking and human trafficking. It kicks out Islamic radicals and Iranians and Cubans and helps the United States build a more stable, prosperous Western Hemisphere. That's the ultimate goal, and that's what President Trump laid out yesterday.
So last month, the chief of staff to the president, Susie Wiles, told Vanity Fair that attacking targets on Venezuela's mainland, sovereign territory, would force Trump to get congressional approval. Quote, if he were to authorize some activity on land, then it's war. Then we'd need Congress. You are a co-equal branch of government. Why doesn't the president need you or your authority or your consultation?
Well, I consult routinely with the president and his senior advisors.
You personally, sure.
Well, as the chairman of the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, they keep me apprised of what their plans are and what's going on. I mean, I spoke in the last 24 hours, not just with the president, but with his senior team. Every man that was on that stage with him yesterday, Marco Rubio, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hegseth, Dan Kane, Stephen Miller, the core architect of the president's policy here. I've spoken with every single one of them in the last 24 hours. Congress has acted to provide the president the resources and authority that he needs to protect the vital interests of the United States, whether it's taking out this drug trafficker, Nicolas Maduro, who had contributed to the deaths of hundreds of Arkansans and hundreds of thousands of Americans, or striking Iran's nuclear facilities. He has the inherent authority under our Constitution to protect these American national interests, and as the chief law enforcement officer, to make sure that indicted drug traffickers face justice, whether they're indicted in Venezuela or indicted in the United States.
But by his own admission, the DEA administrator said that cocaine prices have gone up nearly 45%. Drug traffickers have only changed routes. Venezuela is not a fentanyl producer, not a cocaine producer. Do you really think that this has ended the drug problem?
Venezuela is unique in Latin America, though, because the Maduro regime is itself in league with the drug trafficking cartels. It doesn't just tolerate them, or it doesn't just fail to control its territory. It is in league and profits from drug trafficking cartels. That's the distinction between Venezuela and other nations.
Senator Cotton, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Margaret.
I mean, there it is, boys. There it is. I guess let's go ahead and do that one, and then I guess this one too, and that one.
Here with me now is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Thank you so much for being here.
The Karens. I can't.
Viewers than a
Wait,
brainwashed freaks.
What's this?
Then a well-spoken leftist streamer in this dumbass timeline controlled by idiots. I just know Hassan's fucking fuming because I had more viewers than Hassan. Who cares? Like, hey, guys, this is the crazy thing,
bro.
It's not a big deal. It's really not a big fucking deal, guys. It's not the end of the world. People are crying about this, getting upset about it. Yes, I'm very successful. I do very well. And by the way, I almost never use this to like go and talk down on people.
Appreciate it.
Almost never.
The first question is, what is your understanding of the meaning behind we are going to run the country until such time as we can do safe, proper, and judicious transition? What does it mean for the U.S. to run Venezuela?
Well, who's not running Venezuela anymore is Nicolas Maduro, and that's a great thing, and it's a great day for America and for the people of Venezuela and really the civilized world. Nicolas Maduro was a indicted drug trafficker in U.S. courts. He was an illegitimate communist dictator. His drugs had killed hundreds of Arkansans, thousands of Americans, and he was in league with anti-American countries around the world like Cuba and Iran or Islamic terrorists. It's a good thing that he's in a jail now in New York City. The president said that when the president said the United States is going to be running Venezuela, it means that the new leaders of Venezuela need to meet our demands. Our demands are now what they were before yesterday, that we want them to stop the drug trafficking, we want them to stop the weapons trafficking, we want them to expel the Cubans and the Iranians and the Islamic radicals, and we want them to
it seems pretty basic to me. It's not asking a whole lot.
Return to the civilized world and be a good neighbor that contributes to stability, order, and prosperity in our own backyard.
But he literally turned around and pointed to his secretaries of state, defense, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and said, they're going to run Venezuela.
Well, I know that Secretary Rubio in particular is in consultation with other members of the Maduro government. He's also in consultation with members of the opposition. They're working through what an interim or transition government would look like. Obviously, Secretary Hegseth and General Kay and our entire military deserve our praise at an amazing raid, maybe the most complex operation that's occurred in the 5 years Donald Trump has been president without a single American.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what he means is that them, when he points to them, he's talking about the staff that are in charge of, being the dignitaries, ambassadors, and/or communicators or liaisons between the United States and Venezuela. It's obvious that's what he means. I mean, anybody who doesn't think that or know that right off the bat is just a moron. What is going on?
Being lost. And I think we'll see whether the vice president of Venezuela, who is sanctioned by the United States and many other countries, who is in league and hand-chosen by Maduro, wants to turn over a new leaf. I think we'll see whether or not they're going to let the opposition back into the country and have new elections, which is what the opposition itself wants. So there's still a lot of questions to be answered, but it's a great day that Nicolas Maduro, an illegitimate communist dictator and indicted drug trafficker, is no longer in charge of Venezuela.
But I guess the question is, who is right now? The vice president who you talked about, who I'll get to in a minute, Rodriguez, she technically, I guess, the Supreme Court said that she is in charge. Is she the person that the U.S. does officially recognize as a leader? And then again, I just want to go back to the president of the United States said,
it's in limbo, and it's being we have terms that we are dictating to them that they need to agree to. And that's where it stands. It's the ball's in their court to decide whether or not they want to cooperate. Look, I'm not a political scientist. This is so easy to understand. This is like common fucking sense. What is is she that stupid? It's a Karen, bro.
Americans
that
are now in charge, or are now running Venezuela. I mean, that's a big statement.
Bro, she's so dumb. What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh my God, bro, this is crazy.
Delcy Rodriguez is the legitimate ruler of Venezuela. We didn't recognize Nicolas Maduro as a legitimate ruler. For that matter, neither did the Biden administration nor the European Union. It is a fact that she and other indicted and sanctioned officials are in Venezuela. They have control of the military and the security services. We have to deal with that fact. But that does not make them a legitimate leader. What we want is a future Venezuelan government that will be pro-American.
How can a person be that dumb? I don't know, El Rich.
And that will contribute to stability, order, and prosperity, not only in Venezuela, but in our own backyard. That probably needs to include new elections that are legitimate, that are fair and free, that include leaders of the opposition who are currently in exile around the world. There's a lot of steps to take in the future. We don't know what every twist and turn is going to hold, but we do know that Nicolas Maduro, an illegitimate communist dictator and drug trafficker, is in prison in the United States, and that's a great thing.
I think there is a lot of concern among Americans right now that nobody knows what comes next. I mean, you just laid out the possibilities, but it can go either way at any step along the way. And we saw with Iraq what happens when you remove a dictator. Maduro definitely was a dictator. Saddam Hussein was a dictator without a clear understanding of what comes next. and the leadership in this country. And I don't need to tell you, I mean, you won the Bronze Star for your military service in Iraq. A number of your fellow combat
So show some respect.
veterans there, Senator Gallego, Congressman Jason Crow, Congressman Jake Auchincloss, they are saying that they're deeply worried about the U.S. repeating the mistakes in Iraq with Venezuela.
Well, I think the analogy to the Iraq War is flawed. Latin America is not the Middle East. Venezuela is an ethnically...
Some say Venezuela is more complicated.
Well, no, it's an ethnically, religiously, culturally homogenous country. It does have a long history of stability and prosperity and working with America for decades before Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro run the country. I would cite a much more relevant precedent because it's much closer, both geographically and in the circumstances. In 1989, George Bush sent more than 40,000 American troops into Panama to arrest Manuel Noriega, who's an indicted U.S. drug trafficker, and bring him back to the United States. Ever since, Panama has had a pro-American government. We've worked with them closely. They've been working with the Trump administration to minimize Chinese influence around the Panama Canal. I think that's a much closer analog. That was a successful operation. I believe in the long run, this will be too. This will be. It has a chance to be truly revolutionary here in the Western Hemisphere by removing one of the biggest sources of instability and anti-American activism. So I just want to say once again that it's such a great day that Nicolas Maduro has been removed, just like it was when Manuel Noriega was removed from power in 1989.
You mentioned that you hope that the former vice president, Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is somebody.
These statistics were gathered at the peak of the globalist power in the world. Okay, the leftist globalists, right? The woke agenda people, the insane woke leftists, communists I mean, we're talking about a side of the democratic or of the governmental spectrum that more closely aligns with communism and basically socialism than any other time I can possibly, like, worse and more powerful and more prevalent than under Obama's regime, right? They were at the peak of their power in 2024. Venezuela is ranked as the third most corrupt in 2024, the third most corrupt nation in the world, only beaten by Somalia and South Sudan. That's incredible.
The United States. She also has been a part of his inner circle. She also happens to be the oil minister in Venezuela. So is that part of what's going on here, that the administration is trying to install?
You can count on Delcy Rodriguez to be friendly to the United States until she proves it. I mean, there are examples, recent examples, of anti-American leaders around the world turning over a new leaf. You had Muammar Gaddafi in Libya in 2003. You had Ahmed al-Shara, the current leader of Syria. But they made concrete concessions that benefited the United States, where they had a long history of turning a new page and moving in our direction. Delcy Rodriguez and other sanctioned and indicted ministers in Venezuela were in league with Maduro until yesterday.
And proving themselves.
So I don't think we can count on them to be pro-American at all. I hope they turn over a new page. I hope they begin to meet our demands.
Yeah.
And it is the case that Venezuela still owes many billions of dollars in legal judgments to American oil companies. It's also the case that Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. The United States used to be their #1 customer. Many of our refineries are built specifically for Venezuelan oil.
Which used to bring prosperity to the Venezuelan government, economy, and their people.
That oil will go a long way towards financing Venezuela's reconstruction and a return to prosperity and stability.
You talk about oil. The president talked about oil in his press conference many, many times. Is that what this is about? Is it about money and to get American oil companies in there?
It's primarily about
an economics?
a communist dictatorship that was trafficking drugs into the United States.
It's primarily about using that resource as a way to prop up and give prosperity to, and freedom to, and quality of life to the Venezuelan people. It's a resource that they can now capitalize on as people, as employees, as workers, and not have it stolen from them by Maduro.
United States that was in league with Islamic radicals in Iran and Cuba and China and Russia, that was given many opportunities to step aside, as has happened throughout recent decades in Latin American history. He refused those opportunities. Our military took bold, audacious, decisive action, and the United States is a safer place today for it.
The president did not rule out the possibility of sending the U.S. military back in. Would you be comfortable with that?
Well, the U.S. military has already been in, as Nicolas Maduro learned the hard way. But I think Americans now, after 5 years of Donald Trump's presidency, realize that there are certain signature features of how he uses our military. Take 4 examples. The raid that killed the ISIS leader in Syria, the drone strikes that killed Iran's terror mastermind in Iraq, the bombing of Iran's nuclear facility.
They're in and out. That's how he likes to operate.
This raid.
Those are one and done.
Have an objective, have a clear goal, and a clear outcome in mind for what you want to force. You want to force the hand of the opponent you're attacking into doing what you want them to do. And he is very good and skilled at getting exactly that done. In and then out.
But all,
they didn't involve regime change.
But think about it.
Forgive me. I just want to just clarify.
Bold, decisive, audacious, and direct.
And so
they achieved vital U.S. national interests.
Yeah, and so was what happened in Venezuela. No question about it. The military was extraordinary there. The question is about what's next. Will you feel comfortable if the military goes in to protect the oil fields, for example?
Well, I think that Delcy Rodriguez and the other ministers in Venezuela understand now what the U.S. military is capable of, and as President Trump and Secretary Rubio indicated yesterday, if they don't want to follow in Maduro's footsteps, they need to start meeting our demands. And it's always an option for our military to protect American citizens, of which we have many in Venezuela, and American interest around the world.
And the interest is Venezuelan oil fields in this case?
We have many U.S. citizens and many American interests. And again, Venezuela owes many billions of dollars to American companies for their past seizure of American property in that country.
Chairman of the Intelligence Committee, Tom Cotton, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We begin today with...
No, we already did this. Wait, no, this is different. This is Marco Rubio.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who joins us this morning from Miami. Good morning to you, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning. Good morning.
President...
Yeah, but we don't want to do. Nope. Nope.
We begin today with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who joins us this morning from Miami. Good morning to you, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning. Good morning.
President Trump said that the United States will run the country and that Venezuela will be largely run by, he pointed to you and some of the other cabinet members when he spoke to the public yesterday. He said the U.S. retains all military options, including boots on the ground, until U.S. demands have been fully met. How do you plan to run the country?
Well, first of all, I think the important thing to point out is that the key to what that regime relies on is the economy fueled by oil. And right now it is an oil industry that is backwards and really needs a lot of help and work in terms of it. And not only that, but it doesn't help the people. None of the money from the oil gets to the people. It's all stolen by the people that are on the top there. And so that's why we have a quarantine. There's a quarantine right now in which sanctioned oil shipments, there's a boat, and that boat is under U.S. sanctions. We go get a court order, we will seize it. That remains in place. And that's a tremendous amount of leverage that will continue to be in place until we see changes, not just further the national interest of the United States, which is number one, but also that lead to a better future for the people of Venezuela. And so that's the sort of control the president is pointing to when he says that. We continue with that quarantine. And we expect to see that there will be changes, not just in the way the oil industry is run for the benefit of the people, but also so that they stop the drug trafficking, so that we no longer have these gang problems, so that they kick the FARC and the ELN out, and that they no longer cozy up to Hezbollah and Iran in our own hemisphere.
What you are talking about is more of a sanctions pressure, not boots on the ground. So just to be clear, there is no plan for U.S. occupation of this country of nearly 30 million people.
Not yet. If they cooperate, no.
Well, I think, first of all, the president always retains optionality on anything and on all of these matters. He certainly has the ability and the right under the Constitution of the United States to act against imminent and urgent threats against the country. That said, and all of that said, right now, I think what you see is a force posture was one of the largest naval deployments in modern history, certainly in the Western Hemisphere, and it is capable of stopping not just drug boats, but stopping any of these sanctioned boats that come in and out and really paralyzing that portion of how the regime, generates revenue. So that will continue to be in place. What the president has said, obviously, is, and I think what he's pointing to is that this obsession people have about boots and this or that, but he does not feel like he is going to publicly, rule out options that are available for the United States, even though that's not what you're seeing right now. What you're seeing right now is an oil quarantine that allows us to exert tremendous leverage over what happens next.
Well, he also said the U.S. is ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. But I'm curious because you just described the regime as still in place, essentially. I mean, I'm curious why the Trump administration decided to leave it intact and only arrest Nicolas Maduro and his wife, the person who controls the police, the chief thug, Diaz-Cabello. He's the interior minister. He's been indicted by the United States. He was in that indictment the administration released.
So now he's not going the rule of law, which he's not. It's fully within his capacity as president to apprehend and take out this terrorist, drug cartel affiliated dictator of a communist dystopian nation. And yet they're pissed about him doing it, but they're also pissed that he hasn't gone hard enough on getting all the rest of them. I'm at a loss here, people.
$25 million price
What?
On his head. He's still in place. The defense minister, who has deep ties to Russia, $15 million price on his head. He is still in place. I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States? Why didn't you arrest them if you are taking out the narco-terrorist regime?
You're confused? I don't know why that's confusing to you.
They're still in
power. It's very simple. You're not going to go in and wrap up. But you can't go. You're going to go in and suck up 5 people. They're already complaining about this one operation. Imagine the howls we would have from everybody else if we actually had to go and stay there 4 days to capture 4 other people. We got the top priority. The number one person on the list was the guy who claimed to be the president of the country that he was not, and he was arrested along with his wife, who was also indicted. And that was a pretty sophisticated and frankly complicated operation.
It was.
It is not easy to land helicopters in the middle of the largest military base in the country. The guy lived on a military base. Land within 3 minutes, kick down his door, grab him, put him in handcuffs, read him his rights, put him in a helicopter, and leave the country without losing any American or any American assets. That's not an easy mission. And you're asking me why didn't we do that in 5 other places at the same time? I mean, that's absurd.
Right, there you go, Marco.
One of the most, daring, complicated, sophisticated missions this country has carried out in a very long time. Tremendous credit to the U.S. military personnel who did it. It was unbelievable. And tremendous success. And today, an indicted drug trafficker who was not the legitimate president of Venezuela, who we don't recognize, the Biden administration didn't recognize, 60-something countries don't recognize, the European Union doesn't recognize, and many countries in Latin America don't recognize. He was a indicted drug trafficker. He was arrested. His wife was arrested, also
but the
indicted, and they are now
others who
facing
are also
justice in an
indicted are
American
still
system of courts.
The others who are also indicted are still in place. So that's the point of my questioning there. But you talked about not being the legitimate
So you wanted
president.
us to land in 5 other military bases?
No, I'm asking why you chose that this was the limit of the military operation. But to your point that you just made, that, Maria Corina Machado and Mundo Gonzalez won that 2024 election by your own account. They were some of the first people you called when you were Secretary of State. You said Edmundo Gonzalez is the rightful president of Venezuela. Is that still the U.S. policy? And if so, are you working on a transition to have those elected leaders run the country?
Well, I think a couple things. I have tremendous admiration for Maria Corina Machado. I have admiration for Edmundo. We have all those views about what the election that happened the last time, and not only us, but many other countries around the world. There's that. And there's the mission that we are on right now. We have been very clear from the beginning, because I still think that a lot of people analyze everything that happens in foreign policy through the lens of what happened from 2001 to 2015 or 16. The whole, foreign policy apparatus thinks everything is Libya, everything is Iraq, everything is Afghanistan. This is not the Middle East. And our mission here is very different. This is the Western Hemisphere. Within the Western Hemisphere, we have a country, potentially a very rich country, that has cozied itself up under the control of this regime, has trafficking gangs to operate with impunity from their own territory, allows boats with drugs to traffic from their territory, and we are addressing that. And by the way, 9 million people in the largest mass migration event in modern history have left that country since 2014.
But that regime is still in
having
place.
An impact on us. That is what we are addressing now.
When you spoke yesterday,
but we're not just addressing the regime. We are addressing the factors that are a threat to the national interest of the United States. Understood.
You spoke with Delcy Rodriguez, who is now, according to President Trump, sworn in as the president, as the leader of Venezuela. Did she promise you that she is expelling all those American adversaries from Venezuelan territory? What exactly did she agree to do when she spoke to you?
We are going to, our objectives when it comes to how Venezuela impacts the national interest of the United States have not changed, and we want those addressed. We want drug trafficking to stop. We want no more gang members to come our way. We don't want to see the Iranian, and by the way, Cuban presence in the past. We want the oil industry in that country not to go to the benefit of pirates and adversaries of the United States, but for the benefit of the people. We want to see all of that happen. We insist on seeing that happen.
She has and knows our demands. Obviously, those demands are under review, and they are looking at what any and all potential options are on the table for them to choose from and decide on. Obviously, that is something that we are willing to, at least for now, give them a little time to think it over. They've seen what we can do. They know we're capable of doing it. I think they'll hopefully come to the right decision and conclusion. But that's the idea here. She knows that, but she's acting like she doesn't.
To work to continue to see that happen. Well, right now,
you're right. Like, she don't know that. She's too stupid.
We are going to see what happens moving forward.
She doesn't understand that basic common sense observation of reality.
Let me just say that I'm not obviously going to have these conversations in the media. These are delicate and complicated things that require mature statesmanship, and that's what we intend to do. But our goals remain the same.
And
the difference is that the person who was in charge, even though not legitimately, in the past was someone you could not work with. We just could not work with him. He is not a person that had ever kept any of the deals he made, broke every deal he ever made a fool out of the Biden administration on the deal they made with him. And we offered him on multiple occasions an opportunity to remove himself from the scene in a positive way. He chose not to do so.
But his number two is now running the country. His number two is someone you can work with. And is that what you're implying here? And did she tell you that she will transition to democracy? And the woman who won the election along with her partner there, Maria Corina Machado.
We are going to make.
Is that what you're implying here? And did she tell you that she will transition to democracy? And the woman who won the election, along with her partner there, Maria.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing
Corina
that.
Machado.
We are going to make our assessments of people. You're asking me to make an assessment. We're going to make an assessment on the basis of what they do, not what they say publicly in the interim, not what what they've done in the past in many cases, but what they do moving forward. So we're going to find out. You're asking me, do I know what decisions people are going to make? I don't. I do know this, that if they don't make the right decisions, the United States will retain multiple levers of leverage to ensure that our interests are protected.
Yeah.
And that includes the oil quarantine that's in place, among other things.
Well,
and, but we are going to judge moving forward. We're going to judge everything by what they do. And we're going to see what they do.
Okay, because yesterday President Trump said Maria Corina Machado doesn't have the support or respect within the country. And by your own admission, she walloped Nicolas Maduro in the last election. So it does sound like a decision was made. But
she wasn't
today
on the ballot in the last election.
No, but her party was.
Edmundo was.
Yes.
Correct.
So
it was an illegitimate election, and that's why he's not a legitimate president.
Right, but is there an agreement to transition to democracy?
I think
it sounds
what
like
the
there's
president
not.
pointed out is the obvious. Well, I think what the point, but there has to be a little realism here, okay? A transition to democracy. They've had this regime, they've had this system of Chavismo in place for 15 or 16 years. And everyone's asking why 24 hours after Nicolas Maduro was arrested, there isn't an election scheduled for tomorrow? That's
No,
absurd.
I'm asking what you talked about with her.
These things take time. There's a process.
Yeah, there's a process involved. These things take time. It's obviously a lot of work to make a transition like this. A lot of planning, a lot of there's so much has to be done. And it's going to take hundreds of people to get it done. Like, what are you talking about, you dumb bimbo, you absolute moron?
Right. And
I'm not going to publicly get into details about any of those things, other than to tell you that our expectations remain the same. And we are going to judge whoever we're interacting with moving forward by whether or not those conditions are met. Of course we want to see Venezuela transition to be a place completely different than what it looks like today. But obviously we don't have the expectation that's going to happen in the next 15 hours. Right. What we do have an expectation is that it move in that direction. We think it's in our national interest and frankly in the interest of people of Venezuela.
The president used the word oil 20 times in his press conference. You talked about these tremendous oil assets that Venezuela has. But the president's
the Venezuelan people have been robbed of, where they can now capitalize and gain prosperity for themselves, instead of it all going to a dictator who is stealing from them constantly.
Voice of Venezuela. Elliot Abrams is publicly arguing that you know better than the policy you're backing. He said, quote, Venezuelan plutocrats or U.S. oil executives seem to be coming to Mar-a-Lago and whispering about how easy life would be if we just made a deal with the regime once Maduro was gone. Is that what happened here?
No. And even if it was.
That's not what happened here. What happened here is that we arrested a narco trafficker who's now going to stand trial in the United States for the crimes he's committed against our people for 15 years. And the person who helped him,
they tried so hard to frame it.
So she was arrested as well. That's what happened here. As far as oil, look, oil is critical, not just to fueling economies all over the world. It's critical to Venezuela.
I can't stand it.
The oil industry is completely destroyed. It's destroyed all those oil fields that used to produce a lot and wealth for their country and their people. Those things are decrepit. They're bankrupt. They need to be reinvested in. It's obvious. They do not have the capability to bring up that industry again. They need investment from private companies who are only going to invest under certain guarantees and conditions. That has to go to the benefit of the Venezuelan people. Right now, all of that wealth is stolen. It's stolen and it goes into the hands of oligarchs around the world and the oligarchs inside of Venezuela. A handful of people benefit from it. The people don't benefit from it. On top of that, it's very simple, okay? In the 21st century, under the Trump administration, we are not going to have a country like Venezuela in our own hemisphere, in the sphere of control and the crossroads for Hezbollah, for Iran, and for every other malign influence in the world. That's just not going to exist.
Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, would love to keep talking to you, but I'm told you are out of time. I have to leave it there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. He was destroying your framework that you were trying to set up. Holy crap. It just kept getting more and more embarrassing for them.
We're now going to bring in...
All right.
I never imagined I would have this kind of career. That was the heyday. Yeah. You had Seinfeld, you had Friends, so there was all these great comedies, and we got to be a part of that. That is probably not coming back now since the advent of streaming, which blew up the whole system. Where we shot The Middle, which is on Warner Ranch, which is around the corner from Warner Brothers, and it used to house like the Walton House and the Lethal Weapon House, and the Friends Fountain was all there, and that was all razed to the ground, and they built a ton of sound stages, and then pandemic happened and the strikes all happened, and on the Paramount lot there's just a bunch of empty sound stages there now. A really veteran comedy writer said he was in a writer's room with where a bunch of the writers were in their 20s, and they had a character that was like a Marine, and he didn't like to hug anybody. He didn't want guys hugging him. He would like tense up, and one of the young writers said, well, that's really homophobic. We can't write that. And so there's a certain wokeness, I think, in some young people.
That you're Catholic?
Pro-life.
You're pro-Israel? Well, how much of that were you talking about sort of publicly way back when versus now you're extremely outspoken, obviously?
The thing that I think a lot of people outside of Hollywood have a misconception about, even though actors, myself included, will state our political opinions, when you're working, you're just trying to make a show successful. And that you should be conscious that there might be somebody who has a different opinion. So, you know, you have Tilda Swinton and you have Mark Ruffalo and you have Benedict Cumberbatch and all these folks who live a very privileged life, because the same people who were standing up in Hollywood against what Israel was doing in Gaza stayed silent when Boko Haram in Nigeria were murdering Christians.
All right, Patricia Heaton, you're not getting a proper intro read off the teleprompter because I can describe you as legendary actress, cookbook author, activist, Twitter fighter a little bit lately, but mostly you are like an old friend to me somehow, even though we've only known each other for a couple of years. It burned very hot.
All right, you guys, I think we're going to call it there anyhow. I wish I could have made it till Ember stream. Hope you all are having a wonderful New Year start of this January, and we will see you all next time. Until then, stay safe.